Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey everybody, welcome to, it's January 1st. It is my predictions show. First of all, I want to tell you, this is a long one. I had so many great psychics and predictors on this year, and I don't even know if I got everyone in. I think I reached out to everyone, but there was such a great group. So everyone is doing 10 minutes. And at 9 minutes, they each get a bell, just like we do in comedy when we get a light. And right now I'm taping it out of order. So I'm doing my intro. And I think I have 2 left, possibly 3 left. So right now I think we're at, are we at 6 or 7? I may even add one as the time goes on. But everybody's doing these predictions right now around December 15th or 16th. I tried to let everybody wait until the end. And at the end of the show, I will do my predictions. And another thing, I want to tell you guys, I feel like I'm actually trying to write a comedy bit about that. Oh, yes, and my new comedy CD is out. It's called Psychic Stand-Up, the Valentine's edition. You can get it on iTunes, or it's actually free on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube if you want to listen to it there. And I should have an ad for it in here somewhere, so I'm gonna stop chatting about it. Also, I don't want you all to think everything is doom and gloom. Even when you hear a negative thing, everyone agrees the world is transforming into the age of Aquarius, which is out of the patriarchy into the matriarchy. It's much kinder, gentler world, and it's just a little bit of a hard transition. Now, as of December 15th right now, it's looking to me, I was really like November, December, January lockdown. And I know we have COVID lockdown, so I was right about that. But November was way quieter than I thought it was going to be. And a friend of mine said, I think that what you were predicting happened. It's just not that acute. That, in other words, the changes aren't the people in the street fighting or protesting. Right now, the changes that are going as Trump either prepares to go out or stay are booby traps that he's setting that are actually very, very dangerous. I think she's right about that. I do think my prediction may have been wrong, though. I'm always okay to say I'm wrong. Other than, COVID lockdown. But I expected to see a lot more. I will say, as of yesterday, 4 people were stabbed at protests in front of the White House. And as I was driving Courage to the dentist, they were out on the street. The We Hate Biden people, to not swear. I know you're adults, you can take swearing. But it's starting to swell. So, and we will get to my predictions. But anyways, the reason that I started that, because actually I believe last year's show was pretty on. We did pretty well last year. The reason I say that is I'm trying to write a comedy bit about how people expect psychics to be perfect. You can make 10 predictions, and if the 10th is wrong and 9 are better, you will see the 10th people will just grab at it. I do really like this astrologer, Joni Patry, and she got one thing wrong, and I watched the comments, and people just crucified her for one thing she changed. And I was like, if you've been watching her all year long, she gets one. That's incredible numbers. John Oliver did a hit job on psychics. I don't watch him anymore. He showed them getting stuff wrong, okay? He doesn't show them getting it right. All right, astrologers have been pointing to this pandemic time and to this transfer in 2020 for years. I watched a comedian have a guy on, another comedian, and she's a non-believer, which is fine. And she said, the guy said, well, you can see no psychics predicted the pandemic. And I just had to control myself from leaping in and going, well, who did you watch? Who did you see? Because I know the 2 of them didn't even turn on YouTube once. Wow, this is an aggressive opening. I'm sorry, you guys. But the reason I'm saying this is take what these people say as metaphor, as guidelines. They may get one wrong. They may be completely right. but just take it all in, see what resonates with you. And I personally love and stand by every single one of these psychics that I've had on this show, that I'm having on this show. I've had readings from them. They are all good. They are all on. They are all people that I back up and I stand behind. So now I'm going to get off my soapbox and let you guys enjoy this. Hey, everybody. So now I'm talking to Elaine Hathaway, whose website is attherisingmoon.com. And also, I just did a great episode with her. I'm looking to do a 4-part series with her next year about demonic attachment and a cut and clear and a whole bunch of stuff. But Elaine, how are you today?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Karen?
Good. Thank you for coming on my prediction show. And I'm just going to let you roll and then interrupt you if you have a question. But you already told me some of the stuff you're doing and that you're predicting. So this is great. So you go to it.
All right. Thanks so much for having me on, Karen. Here we go. All right. One of the things to come out of our global lockdown will be that people are going to be far less likely to fear change in the aftermath as we head into 2021. As they've learned that change can and will be brought to them whether or not they wish it to be, they will be opening their energetic doors for a significant segment of the population to begin making changes that they need to shift for their own karmic burdens. And they learn the net lessons that they need to. This is going to be part of the population that has resisted growth and averse to personal change in the past.
Okay, so this would be. Oops, hold on a sec. So you're saying this will be the people that that maybe were holding on too much and weren't going with the flow in 2021.
Well, exactly. So it's going to be the segment of the population that has always denied that there is more to this reality. However, everything that occurred in 2021 has brought people to the understanding that their feelings of security are basically, it's a bit of an illusion. So there's a mass activation towards more spirituality and more reception from other realms, which starts somewhere in March or April of 2021. And what happens with that is people start beginning to receive things through their dream state. It's through prophetic dreams, but it starts out with these really commonplace sort of visions. Like people are going to have visions in their dream state of things that they see in a grocery store shelf or something like that. And then they'll, like 2 or 3 days later, see that exact thing. And they will begin to understand that there is quite simply more to this reality than we can see. This is one of the things that helps kind of flip the coin back to compassion in our global consciousness and our social consciousness. So people are going to be more receptive to other realms. By the way, evangelical Christianity, which has had kind of a push towards a lot of power in the last 20 years, is going to kind of recede from the stage as the feelings of deprivation brought about by essentially everything with the economy in the lockdown. It's going to be very challenged for the corporate power structure. This is going to lead to more and more grassroots kind of movements towards social change. And the Biden-Harris administration, which I do see coming into power with some unrest around it in the inauguration, but I do think that the unrest will, unlike the protests of 2020, I do think that the power structures will pay more attention to that as there's a push towards reparation of democracy within the United States. So that's going to start a shift towards more social change as people, unfortunately, there's a bit of a hunger problem in 2021. And as that is kind of addressed within the United States on a political level, there is more of a kind of a societal pulling together in a way that we haven't seen in a long time. The separation of the lockdown has really made people understand how much we need each other. This is actually going to be one of the things that helps aid in people kind of leveling up and activating in their own consciousness. The age of Aquarius kind of begins on December 21st, 2020, and look for, particularly in the next year, to have a lot of people coming more and more towards spirituality, more and more towards their psychic awakenings, and more towards kind of a softening around the rigidity of what they are willing to believe.
So you're saying you're saying people will come over and more listen to my podcast.
That is exactly what I'm saying. You're going to have more and more listeners, lady. And then also, quite quite simply, what will happen is when there's been a lot of loss and death in 2020. And whenever that happens, one of the reactions of kind of the global population is to begin to wonder what happens after this world. One of the things that I saw in the cards was that there's going to be more and more people trying to tap into their own ability to be spirit mediums.
Great.
This is going to coincide with like this wonderful activation of people, again, it's mostly just accessing a part of their brain that they haven't in the past, where they're able to tap into their own psychic abilities. And again, that starts with more and more prophetic dreams. And again, it starts with these very mundane things where it starts nagging at people's consciousness that it's like, I dreamt of a broken fire hydrant 2 days ago, and there's a broken fire hydrant. It's going to be things that just draw the attention in the 3D world and kind of soften the barriers that are very rigid around what people believe is possible. And one of the good things about that, one of the good things about the lockdown, is that people are going to be less like wedded to the idea that change is bad. Because change was brought to us like without our permission and without anyone planning on it, and it was very disruptive. People are going to be more likely to go towards change willingly. And that, of course, does nothing but benefit almost every level of society, almost every level of emotional and social interaction. Is as people begin to be more accepting of differences and understanding that we need one another and that there's no such thing as, hey, sink or swim, if we all have to kind of go in the same direction.
And
there's going to be,
I just found out that the word religion means to bind back. So we're going to go away from that.
Well, religion is, of course, a man-made structure around a real power. And so a lot of the structures that have let people down are going to start to recede into the past for 2021. And this starts like a 3-year period of more and more spiritual awakening and more power being put into the hands of average citizens. One of the good things about the lockdown and we're headed into a bit of an economic crisis, but one of the good things to come out of that is the corporate power structure has been tremendously lessened. They no longer will wield the lobbying power and the political power that they have in the past. And as there is, unfortunately, this does start out with deprivation. There's going to be some hunger, particularly in economically depressed areas, that the only good thing about it is that it can't be ignored. It's going to be in about 20% of the population in certain areas. And so that is part of the reason that the power structures of the United States can't ignore it any longer. Wow. Now, luckily, they're on the global stage. This happens all over the world. One of the things that's been happening in the Baltic states has been a push towards authoritarianism. And what I've seen is that there's a death within that power structure. I'm not sure who it is, but it is one of the leading right-wing voices sometime around in July. And that leads to a greater push towards equality. Poland kind of got it started with a push towards gender equality. Look for that to take off in the back half of 2021. There's going to be a global push towards kind of a drawing together. We're going to have more of a world and global consciousness going in 2021 than we did in 2020. This forced separation, this kind of isolation that was in 2020, it's like the coin is flipping, and we're all going to try and draw back together, having realized through, kind of extreme means that we have a great need of each other. Our social conscience is going to be kind of in an awakening period for 2021. It's going to gain momentum as we move into 2022 as well. One of the things that I saw that really was exciting for me is that the EPA is going to have a tremendous overhaul. Kamala Harris is she's no joke, and she's really going to be one of the strongest voices in the administration. As the EPA has an overhaul, this has a great impact on the people as things like whether or not they have clean drinking water, whether or not they have breathable air. There's going to be kind of an uptick in an awareness around health that is going to be supported on a governmental level. And of course, the GOP in the power structure in the Senate is going to push back, but their power is eroding as their base is experiencing the deprivation as well. Wow. And again, with the lessening of the corporate power, that is also going to, it's a great year for social change. It starts out rocky. It does. As we have this shifting of what we believe to be important and what will work, the last, year in particular, but the last 4 years has taught us that there's kind of a difficulty with the bootstrap mentality. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
And
it
we hit the 9-minute bell.
People don't have boots.
We hit the
Okay, I'm so sorry. Babble, babble, babble.
No.
Hey, one last thing I wanted to add. Vladimir Putin's power structure in Russia is going to begin to soften in September, and look for that to have a tremendous impact throughout the world.
Oh my God! Fantastic.
There has been a big push. That's one of the things that really excited me. Is it looks like it is a good time for innovation, for change, and for social awakening throughout 2021 after a rough start at the beginning of the year.
Okay? And as I like, it looks like a time of revolution because I'm a revolutionary.
And this is the way the revolution actually begins. It is kind of a soft revolution.
That's how I like them.
It's not a very bloody coup.
Good.
Exactly. Change coming to us through the will of the people.
Wonderful. Elaine, everyone, I want to say two things really quick. Go check out Elaine, get a reading at therisingmoon.com. And also, Elaine, I just want everyone to know about your shake jars. So I hope you have something about that. Have that on YouTube or on your thing. They're the greatest thing and the greatest gifts ever.
Oh, thank you so much. They are on my website, and I probably will be discussing them on my YouTube channel a little bit more. But thank you. I really enjoy making them, too.
Okay, and I can't wait to do that 4-part series with you. So everybody at therisingmoon.com.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, thanks, honey. All right. Hey, everybody, let me tell you about my friend Elaine Hathaway. She's not just an incredible tarot reader. I know because I had a reading. She also does curse breaking, healing and prosperity magic, and the removal of dark entities. I had a client that was constantly being bothered by a dark entity. I sent her to Elaine, and man, she cleared that situation up right away. It was so impressive. She does so many things. Please check out her website at therisingmoon.com. There you can click on her YouTube channel and take a look at her, because you're going to feel like curse breaking and the removal of dark entities. This is a little old woman sitting in the corner of the room with a hood and a cape. No, she is the loveliest person. She does so many things other than tarot. Please check out her website at therisingmoon.com. You can also hear her October 23rd on this show at therisingmoon.com. All your paranormal and metaphysical needs will be met there. All right, everybody. So now I am talking to Monique from the Homewrecker podcast, which if you haven't checked that out yet, please do. You can find her at tarotbymonique.com. Monique, tell us your predictions for 2021.
Hello, Karen. Thank you for having me.
You got it, doll.
So for 2021, the best way I can try to describe what I'm getting, I did tarot and oracle cards. It's almost like we have this big festering open wound and it's going to get cleaned out, and it's going to be messy and nasty, but it's for the best, and we're just going to have to go with it.
Yes, we're going to have a big bottle of hydrogen peroxide, and we're going to get it out.
Exactly. So in the beginning of the year, everything is like, I'm getting a lot of feminine energy coming in.
Great.
And in terms of that, we're going to have an issue with balance. We're getting all this feminine energy in, but there's still masculine energy. And there's going to be a bit of imbalance, and that's going to throw things off. The beginning of the year, there's a lot of people still sleeping. They're not seeing things for what it is. That's going to change, and people are going to start waking up.
You know, this is probably not in your prediction, and I hope I'm not throwing you off here, but I'm wondering, is it maybe I'm going to do this. I haven't done my predictions yet, but I want to see if it's a 3D opening where like we find out everybody's been gypped and the banks aren't real or something like that, or if it's going to be an awakening like a spaceship or something like that.
So one of the things that I just my guides tell me things and I hear them, and I got the deceived shall open their eyes and the deceivers shall run and hide in fear.
I love
which is really weird. And I was like, can you wait till I have another cup of coffee before you start throwing that shit at me? But I feel like, and for the longest time, I personally have felt like there's people have been putting something in front of us, like the cloth over our eyes, trying to hide things. We're going to start waking up. We're going to start being more creative. We're going to start unlocking our gifts and our potential more. With that, shit's going to collapse. I'm getting around April, something big is happening.
Wow.
Basically,
Oh my God! I just had a psychic circle with some of my other psychic friends, and one woman was obsessed with April.
I'm getting, so here's the thing with April. I'm getting that shit is going to collapse. Something is falling, but it's going to be chaotic, and it's like we're digging into that wound. We have to clean out all the debris. We got to clean it. And it's going to suck, but we have to remember gratitude. We have to remember this is a process we have to go through, and we need to just hold on tight and work through it the best we can, because it's going to be for the best.
Okay.
But then what we have coming up is we're going to start working together. And then around June, I'm getting something like we're going to use our creativity together, and we're going to go into action with it. I don't know if it's going to be a revolution of sorts,
Yes.
but this is where more change is coming. Then with that change is going to give us a new chance to kind of do things the way we feel they should be done, to really start putting our changes into action and making it work. But there's going to be frustration. There are people who are trying to awaken. They're trying to change things, and they're going to have a really hard time, and they're going to get frustrated, and they're going to get really confused. And that's where light workers step in, healers. I call them the Mr. Belvederes, because I don't know for the younger people if they remember Mr. Belvedere, but he was this old English butler who like served the queen and the prime minister. And he had all this life experience, and he knew so much, and he brought so much to the table. But people just kind of, oh, he's a butler. But he really helped people. And that's what we do. We help people. And, star seeds, light workers, we cannot get frustrated.
Can we also be
people.
the nanny? Can we be like a Fran Drescher?
Yes,
in
Fran
the nanny?
Drescher,
Okay,
yes.
so Mr.
It will be like 80s and 90s sitcoms all over.
Where rich people were forced into smaller family situations.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. My mind is still blown that you got April.
But yeah, so we're going to, we can't get frustrated either, because when you're trying to help somebody and they get frustrated with you and they don't want to go past a certain point, you have to just walk away.
Yes.
And you have to say, everyone has their own path. They get to things at their own time. So even though these big changes are happening, we can't really like push individuals. We have to just let them get there on their own. And I feel like November, the veil is going to get very thin. It's been thin. I think it's going to start getting thinner now. We're coming into ourselves. We are getting used to using our gifts. We're getting stronger, more confident. And with that, towards the end of the year, we're going to start looking for more. We're going to want to seek more, find knowledge, and we're going to start doing that. Overall, it's going to be kind of a shitty year. I don't mean to be negative, but what I'm getting is it's going to be difficult, but it's that hard process you have to go through to get to where you need to be. So it's very interesting because I had a full cycle of page, knight, king, and queen, queen and king, all in order, going throughout. Yeah. I think that with a lot of feminine energy, we just have to be careful.
Oops, you went away. Folks, there was a mute button by mistake. It got so exciting. And so there was a little glitch there. But you know what? Literally, and you're going to go back because the kings and queens and pages in order I loved because it's us rebuilding. But also, you're onto something when there's an interruption like this. So go ahead, keep talking.
Thank you. So there's going to be that feminine energy coming in, and there's going to be a lot of imbalance. And it's on us individually and as a collective to get balance. Individuals need to find their own balance, and then once you get it, then work on the collective to find balance. There's a lot with the collective consciousness happening for over 2021.
I think it's very interesting because I think the entertainment industry has somehow set us up for this in the last 2 to 3 years with not only paranormal shows, but stories like the Undone. If you haven't seen Undone on Amazon Prime, or
I'll have to check it out.
Yes, or it's a cartoonish. It's fantastic, and all these things kind of showing people their power, whether it's from entertainment or reality-based shows.
Well, it's believed that Hollywood, these people that are pulling the strings, they put the truth out there. and they put it in your face so they can be like, hey, we're showing you, we're telling you what's going on.
But they're not
people
cannibals
just take
eating.
it.
They're not cannibals eating children.
Not necessarily, but there's a lot of stuff you kind of have to go with what you feel connects with you.
Yeah.
And if you feel like, hey, yeah, I think I have gifts, it doesn't mean you can like put on a cape and fly around, but we all have gifts that can be unlocked. And I think that's really going to start picking up over 2021.
Mm-hmm. People are going to see or hear stuff that they didn't before.
They're like, who the fuck is talking to me? What is that? And it's like, there's nobody here.
Yeah.
Start seeing stuff. Yeah. But I mean, overall, I think it's a good year, but it's just going to be difficult for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. And I think something about that Queen King Page thing, it's perfect in rebuilding. It's also perfect in people really seeing the what is it called? What is it now? Where I'm sorry, and I'm wasting your time. You talk.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, in terms of that, I just saw a whole cycle, which blew my mind. A whole entire cycle, if you will. And I'm like, whoa. And then I used my Sacred Oracle deck and my Sacred Geometry Oracle deck. And just the stuff coming up and how it was syncing to my Rider-Waite Tarot that I used. It was a little scary. I was like, holy smokes, this is great. It just kept confirming what I was getting and what I was feeling. So I think that, we're going to go through a whole cycle. I think that's why it's going to be so rough. This year was rough, but I think next year it's kind of like we just got to get through. We're past the halfway point.
Perfect timing. And
Fabulous.
Yes, and it's also interesting because I don't mean to talk during your last minute, but I feel like right now we're taping this, folks, on, I think it's December, is it the 12th?
12th, yes.
Timelines are shifting, and so sometimes world projections right now are a little hard, but I think when it gets that scary where everything's coming up the same, I think you're onto it.
Let's hope so in a good way.
Yes, but I always think you're onto it because you're awesome. Ladies, tarotbymonique.com. The wonderful podcast is The Home Wrecker. Thank you, darling.
Thank you, Karen. I truly appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone who's been listening. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
You too.
Okay, bye, hon. Paul Jasek is here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you, Paul. PaulJasek.com. That is Jacek. If you can't spell Paul, I can't help you. Paul, what's happening?
Hey, Karen. I am happy holidays. Here we are, and I'm so honored to be able to do this again. I think we've been at for 2 or 3 years running.
Yes, I've had you there. You and Terry, I think, have been the two. Well, probably there's more that have been every year, but this year I got a whole bunch of new people, and but I couldn't miss you, Paul.
Oh, sweet thing. Well, we got through it. We talked about, I think at the last part of last year, that 2020 was going to be the energy of let go or be dragged.
I quoted you on that a bazillion times. That was so perfect.
And I think we all got dragged.
I know.
I feel a little skinned. My knees are skinned. I'm a little bruised. But, at the holiday, I've had to grab a hold of the holidays because as a Buddhist, Episcopal, Jewish Wiccan, I celebrate all of them. It's the third night of Hanukkah. I'm in the middle of Advent. I am decorating. It looks like a drag queen exploded in my apartment. Because I need a little Christmas. I need a little of that idea of the peace.
Yes.
Yes. Jesus didn't say, I've given you my American Express card. The Master Jesus said, I bring you my peace. And that's what we're looking for. So
wonderful. All right. So and just so everyone knows, we're taping this on December 15th and 16th. So I have a feeling some of Paul's predictions might come back a little earlier than January 1st when this is out. So go ahead, Paul. Tell us what's happening.
Well, we find ourselves, especially here in America, and we are working back toward the idea of being the United States. I think we're in for still a little stormy weather. Mm-hmm. I think as this transition, and, some of the other witches I work with have talked about how the death of white male supremacy was not going to go easily.
Yes.
And it hasn't. And so as we start into 2021, we're going to still see some of this pressure because it needs to be relieved. And I think it's going to be relieved. And I do a daily prayer about having that happen in a calm and peaceful manner. But, the thing about bullies and the thing about people who are not balanced is they don't care. Mm-hmm. And so if there's a push, there has to be a push back. So I do see us beginning with a pushback. The nice thing is, as we swing into, let me flip over my page here. As we start swinging in towards Taurus, the season of Taurus in 2021, I think we will see it calming down, that lovely Taurian energy of being grounded and being sturdy. But, the first 100 days of 2021, I want everyone to hold hands and look both ways as they cross the street.
All right, and that includes April, right? Everyone seems to have their eye on April.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because Taurus, the 20th of April. So the first part of April may be a little rocky, but it's going to smooth out as we swing into, I think, summer of 2021, we can all start breathing a little easier.
Good, without our masks, maybe?
Yeah, well, that's the other, here's this thing. The thing about, it's two separate issues. This is an international health crisis. This is not just happening, and it's not just because we want to shut down, the mom and dad grocery. That's not what this is.
Right.
And, we talked about the energy of let go or be dragged. Some people were not up to it, so they had to go. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing because, I'm sure you find this. People always will ask me in a reading, am I going to die? And I would go, oh, guaranteed. It's just like riding the city bus. Some people are leaving at 9:15 and some at 11:05, but we're all going. What's more important is trying to live and live well while we're here. Yeah. And that we're going to have to get back to, none of this is new. It's consideration, it's respect, it is kindliness. And that has to start with ourselves. We're going to have to look at how we're treating ourselves in order to be able to give it away, because you can't give away anything you don't have.
Right.
So this has caused people to have to inventory where they are. It is. I've recently moved back to Long Beach, and I live 5 blocks from where I did in 1980.
Wow, talk about a circle.
Really, and it's so cute because I'm so thrilled. I did not even know how much discomfort I was living in. And the other morning, I wake up like a kid going to a field trip. I'm so pleased, and I was stepping out of the shower feeling, I was in this neighborhood. It was the early 80s. I was 20, white satin shorts, puka shelf. I was so cute. I stepped out of the shower dripping wet and caught my reflection in the mirror and went, oh, no, that can't be accurate. Because standing there was Santa. I'm like, what the heck? Last time it was feathered hair and it's kind of cute. But the timelessness is what we're looking at. So I also see my prediction is people are going to have to find it within themselves we talk about self-respect and self-care. It isn't just an idea. It must be followed now. Yeah.
That is a, and I'm just going to add something to that. Everyone needs to be drinking more water. And I know this sounds so stupid, but I literally think this virus went crazy because nobody's hydrated. I know that's so stupid, but it's true.
No, I agree with you. Here's what I was talking to somebody, in our work, we get to meet so many people. And I was talking with a guy who works at JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and they've been monitoring the frequency of the Earth. And many people, I always thought it was because I was getting older. You're like, oh my God, it feels like time's speeding up. Literally, the vibration of planet Earth has increased.
That, and also we've changed the electromagnetic field with all of our, with our phones and stuff.
Yes, and so therefore we do need to be hydrated. We do need to, and hydrated because of elimination. Because we've all been grinding our teeth and so literally caught up. It's, I think the Joker said in one of the Batman movies, everybody needs an enema. Well, quite literally, we also need an emotional one. We need to let it go.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, and everybody is hanging on. That's one of the things that's going on. And also, do you see any political? Because I don't think, like I said, we're taping this on the 15th, but I don't think we're any near the destruction we're going to see if they change presidents or if anything you see on that.
The discomfort, I'm trying to step carefully because it is an emotional minefield and there's no other way to say it. Hold on, because it's going to be riots in the streets again.
I think so too.
Either way. It's going to get really, really violent. In my prayer, I had a teacher of mine say to me, because I was complaining about the current resident at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, it serves you better if you can find it to just bless it.
Yeah.
And I was angry because I want to be, I don't know about you. I kind of want to be angry.
Well, I do. Well, you know what it is? It's hard to let it go because sometimes anger moves things, but it's so funny because my therapist said, and I'll give you an extra 30 seconds because I'm going to go long on this. My therapist was like, I was like, why do I have so much rage at this or, at him or, at him? And she was like, do you understand you've been mansplained all your life in the comedy industry? And I think you blocked it out and it's now all coming out at Trump. And I thought, she was like, I don't think you can get that angry at your industry as you should be. So it's all coming out at Trump. And I thought she might be right. We've been mansplained and cut down so much in comedy that maybe it's coming out at him.
I had a woman ask me, she goes, I just want us to go back to normal. And I said, no, you don't.
Right.
She goes, excuse me? I said, here in 2020, that women are being paid half of what men are just because they have a penis is not okay.
Mm-hmm. And she wouldn't
that
care.
Children, and she went, what do you mean? I said, so we don't want that normal. We want something new. And that's where there's a lot of commentary about being a co-creator.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to do that, let's be my big word for 2021 is focus. And my other phrase that I'm working with is under the influence. We talk about that with people who've been pulled over. Oh, they were under the influence of, fill in the substance. But what are you under the influence of? Because now we're seeing, if in fact time has sped up, we're seeing manifestations even quicker. So there's really quite no place to look if you're not comfortable with where you are. It's easy to go, I surrender early. Okay, inner being, higher power, Buddha, Jah, God, whatever. Take this one because it's way past my pay grade. I need miracles.
And here's the thing. There's your time bell. And then also, here is the best bell. So you have 1 more minute left. Paul's a stand-up. He knows. This is to under the influence. Again, Paul pulls the phrase of the year. What are you under the influence of? I love it. Okay, hit us in 1 minute.
I want to wish everybody the wonderfulness and the peace and the joy as we go into solstice. Then the days begin to lengthen. And once again, what are you under the influence of today, tomorrow, next week, next year? I'm trying to be under the influence of love. I so love you, Karen. I never miss Tarot Card of the Day. You're a great, I start the day with you and I'm so pleased. Thank you so much for asking me.
Yes, I forgot, folks. If you go to Facebook, Tarot Card of the Day, I have that too. PaulJacek.com. It is spelled JAC. Oops, and there's another call coming in, but not a psychic, so they will get passed back. JACEK, PaulJacek.com. Thank you, Paul. Hey, everybody. Paranormal Karen here, doing an ad for myself because I can't remember when I tape my podcast to say these things. First of all, if you need a holiday gift, you can get a gift certificate for a 30 or 60-minute tarot reading on my website, karenrontowski.com. Also, I'm very, very happy my new CD called Psychic Stand-Up Valentine's Edition is now available everywhere. You can get it on Amazon Music. You can get it on Apple iTunes. You can get it on Spotify, and it's even got a free YouTube channel where you can listen to it there. But it's the show I want to do on the road. It's 45 minutes of me improvising and reading tarot in front of a live audience. It is fun. It is funny. It is real tarot, real funny. All right, everybody. Back to the show. Now we're here with Angela Lovell. Lovell, I love that name, Lovell, which you can find her at her website, angelalovell.com. Right? Lovell, right?
Yes. I love you pronouncing my name correctly. I actually met a Lovell who pronounces her name Lavelle, and she's in the Bahamas. And I was like, you know what? I'd like it for the Bahamas.
You can have it. All right.
It's also the second most prominent name among gypsies.
Really?
Romani. People aren't supposed to call them gypsies anymore. I can because it's in my lineage, but still, let's shy away from that word.
Right. It's supposed to be a bad word. I love that word.
Yeah.
It's a fun
word. It doesn't offend me, but it offends people who are still very much, Romani. So I get it. And let's all just be respectful of what people want to be called.
That's right.
So I am super excited about 2021.
Tell me what's going on.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, you probably have already heard a million times about the age of Aquarius.
But no, nobody's covered that yet.
Are you serious? Okay, so Age of Aquarius is happening the day before my birthday, December 21st. I was lucky enough to be born the day that the light begins to change, and yet I'm still Sagittarius, not Capricorn. Brag, 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 Romani, Sagittarius. So Age of Aquarius is going to, next year is great. Don't let people tell you otherwise. Next year is whatever you make of it. I have been giving so many readings lately, and it's like, it's like black and white. They actually just showed me, because I plugged in to get more downloads for this. They showed me the Wizard of Oz with the Yellow Brick Road, where your life is black and white or it's in color.
Ooh.
So everybody this whole year, so all of 2020, we were shown truths, metaphysical, about our partners, our friendships, career, childhood traumas were revealed for what they truly were.
Boy.
Now, you have the choice to say that's truth, or you go into 2021 wondering if it's still not true, doubting what you were shown, and then you live in the black and white version where you never get to Oz. So you have to accept your truths, or you are fucked in 2021.
Now, when you say childhood trauma, first of all, I think that has been unbelievable. People working on that, and my phrase that you had some good phrases. I always say to people when you look back on it, don't be a victim. Say, look how brave I was.
Yes, yes, yes. Be a survivor, not a victim.
Right.
Absolutely. I had so many gifts that were so painful this year. And oh my God, it's like, I feel like I had a great big fucking diamond shoved up my ass and somebody pulled it out. Like, it was painful. And now I have this big, actually hate diamonds. Let's say a big rose quartz.
There you go.
So it's been a painful gift over and over in 2020. But you have to believe in these truths. Now, Age of Aquarius is all about opportunity, thinking outside of the box. One of the things I really love about this, many of us are aliens or connected to aliens. Whether you are or not, you're going to start to feel like an alien on your own planet in the good way. You have a fresh perspective. You're going to see shit for what it is. And all these, Aquarius is so beautiful and out there. And I always say Aquarius and Gemini basically are aliens, and they're barely in human form, especially Aquarius. So it's going to be like all these unrealistic attempts. People are going to make all these, what we've been told is unrealistic, defund the police, all this stuff. Those unrealistic attempts are going to work in 2021.
Ah.
So get fucking crazy, get weird. It works. High magic. If you practice magic, it is a time for high magic, work for the collective, and then tag what you want onto it. Because
what is high magic? High magic is working for everyone?
Look, yes. High magic. I did high magic last year, for animal welfare, because we're both ethical vegans, blah blah blah. And when I did it, my guides told me, they gave me a 5-year plan, and I had to come up with, I believe it's 5 things on this list. They showed me how to do this magic. It was amazing. But number 1 had to be a way I changed the world for others who do not affect me. And it had to be animals, because nobody speaks for them. No, they don't have a voice. They don't get, nobody, So I did high magic. And when I was doing it for them, I saw slaughterhouses closing. I saw these farms closing. Oh, guess what? All the mink farms had to close in shitty fucking Denmark. Now these fur hags can't wear fur anymore. Oh, all these farms were shut. All the factory farms were shut down due to COVID being spread rampantly.
Wow.
And I even saw COVID. I was talking about it on Where Magic Happens forever before it showed up. I am still very concerned. I don't feel good about the vaccine. I think anybody listening to this is already I'm not anti-vax, but I'm anti-COVID vax for a minute. It's not, we don't know enough yet. Just, if you don't need it, just cool your heels on getting it. Also, I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about that. Just what my guides have been telling me.
Right. Everyone has opinion on vaccine, and that's totally cool. That's
yes. It's just not enough research has been done. They've been telling me it's the fool in tarot basically is the vaccine, is what comes to mind. It's that sort of just jump in, you put a cart before the horse, that whole thing.
And I want to throw in an animal thing real quick. Also, the rescues are empty.
Oh my God, right? It's amazing. So because my high magic, and I know I'm not the only one. I know I didn't do all that, but I had a big part in it. I will be rewarded for doing something for the collective, for someone outside of my own life. Now, you don't have to be into animals. You can do something for the people who are starving to death in a world that is very wealthy. That's fucked up. So do whatever resonates with you. Tag your stuff onto it. No more selfishness. That is not Age of Aquarius, though we're moving past it. Also, congratulations, Pisces. You're ahead of everybody in this game. I don't know why all the Pisces I read are just like blowing up next year. You guys all woke up before everybody.
Nice.
Yes. So we're on the verge of a literal renaissance. And my guides have been kind of vague. I'm not seeing everything about it, but the world changes next year for the best. It's still going to be hard. It's going to be easier, but stuff is going to be hard for a while.
Right. Because people are saying they want it to go back to normal, and they should be saying, I want it to get better.
Yep, normal is over. Normal is canceled. Get better. Work with that. I hate that my guys will not let me live in LA. I have to buy a fucking beach house in Florida, which, bummer. At first I was like, no. And now I'm like, I'll live on a beach. I went to high school with some cool people I like to get drunk with. I'm near my family. Like, we're all circling our wagons and all my family's moving here. And now I'm embracing it because I don't know what's coming to LA, but I did have you gotten down about this?
I'm the one that I know everyone left, and I've been saying this. Everyone left, and I'm still here, and people are talking about how much energy is here. So, but I almost feel like my job is the reporter. So maybe I'm supposed to tell you.
I actually asked them to show me stuff for you, and they were just being big. So you're probably where you belong. Some people have to stay. It's not like LA gets destroyed, but I was supposed to be pushed out when I was, which was February. So, they showed me this to tell you guys, and I don't know what it pertains to. I have seen some weird flooding. I have a bad feeling about Pacific Northwest. Did I already tell you this?
No, but you're right on. In astrology, it was all about water this year, which is so interesting because the last 3 weeks have been every faucet, sink, water problem that could possibly happen in my apartment.
Whoa, I love it. You're like living in your own private vortex that connects to the collective. Yes. Well, I did a past life reading for someone, and I'm pretty sure this is so cool. Every once in a while, somebody's saying this, very rarely, but I'm pretty sure she was Molly Brown, and I saw the Titanic. And I saw a fucking portal open and creepy monsters come out and sink the Titanic. And it was the craziest shit. And for the longest time, they wouldn't let me tell anybody. But just now, when I plugged in to download whatever they want me to tell you guys, they wanted me to tell you about that.
Wow.
So maybe just and Mothman. I saw Mothman stuff. So I'm wearing my Mothman sweatshirt right now too. I was like, yes, I'm wearing that. But yeah, so shit's going to be crazy for a while. Everybody needs to be opening their third eye. It needs to be open and perspective open. Like, no more. You're absolutely right. Go back to normal. Normal seriously is over. So better, still painful. I mean, still like lots of revelation. But the thing is, with numerology, how we come in as these numbers and they kind of dictate like how much we lived. And then we, like, I'm an 11. Oh, is that my bell?
That's your bell.
Straddling a 22. So you get so much more out of this life if you're doing this right. The other thing, a long time ago, first time I deliberately channeled, like with a book and with guidance and everything. I think I was 16 or 17, and I climbed a beanstalk to what people think is heaven, and I saw the gods, and they showed me that beanstalk is accessible right now. So awesome. Fucking get it, you guys. Go the gods. Go sit among the gods. Because guess what? Some of us become gods. Not that like we become Aphrodite, but we become part of her. Or we become part of Hecate. Like, wake the fuck up, because it's on.
There you go. And I do think your t-shirt logo is normal is canceled.
Yes.
Everyone has had a great
Gonna go make that right now for my shop.
Normal is canceled. Okay. It's AngelaLavelle.com. What else you got going on really fast?
Okay, StrikeZ.com. I started the Uber of Psychics. And if you have any gifts, come there and join us. We're having a huge online summit soon. I also am starting a new podcast called Dear Witchy Poo, where you can write me letters, and I will answer them with the help of very gifted witchy authors and psychics. I also have a psychic development course that it's usually $349. It's currently $199, and you buy one, you get one free for your best friend.
Awesome! Oh my God! All right, AngelaLavelle.com. It's in the show notes. Thank you, dear. So good to talk to you.
Oh, you too. I love you so much.
I love you too, honey. Nimue Akafawik is here. How are you?
Hey, Karen, how are you? It's good to be back.
It is. It's good to. I know you were just on, and I'm still getting emails about how much people loved your episode and how fascinating it was. So, and everybody, her website is going to be in the notes. Femme Fatale Tarot, FEMMEFAETALE Tarot, like femme, and then fae, like fairies, tail, tarot. All right, darling, hit me. What you got?
All right, so I think I'm just going to do a card for each month and see what pops up, just to kind of get like a general theme. But I will start with a general theme for 2021. I'm very, very curious to see what pops up because I feel like my signals have been so scrambled with 2020. But I'm just going to see while I shuffle here. All right, so the theme I'm getting is Page of Cups. Page of Cups for 2021. This is a really beautiful deck too that I'm using. It's very, very colorful. There's pink dolphins in it. Pink dolphins are associated to me with the Amazon. They're kind of like just messengers, I believe. My guides are saying like water spirits into earth. Water into earth is what they're giving me.
Well, you know, that's funny too, because I think you and I talked about the astrology being, I think this just happened in someone else's reading, astrology being about water.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Floods,
so you think it's going to be
fires.
like a water year? Yes. Yep. All right. Let's see what we have for January. I'm getting Temperance and the Chariot. How interesting. A little bit of a contradiction energetically, I would think. Although maybe not. I think this is more about tempering our confidence, right? Like I feel like we're all so excited for 2021 to not be 2020 that we're like ready to go. We're ready for the virus to be over. We're ready for things to open up again. We're ready for a new administration. Like, and I think Temperance is here to be like, I see that. Also, it's all those things are still there. All those things we're still working on. So let's take our time.
Yeah, and you know those two too. I see. It's funny because I think you and I were Marco Poloing one day because I was studying that card, the Emperor, or no, the Chariot, right? And he is about tempering his emotions. So I think you say that in just what you said, which is like, all right, let's not get too excited. Let's all stay neutral.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I loved your interpretation of the Chariot. It's kind of like the charioteer is kind of like the person in charge of keeping emotional mind and over rational mind kind of in wise mind, which I really like.
Yeah, for people that you can't imagine the conversations that Nimue and I have that are like, and you know what that means? And what do you think of that? Tarot all day, all time.
It's a lifestyle choice. I endorse it.
Absolutely. All right.
So February, I have the King of Cups.
More water.
But this has been an interesting card for me. And this card specifically, the king is holding a chalice with a human heart inside of it. This card has popped up for me when I've been asking about coronavirus. And I've been trying to really figure that out. I think because it affects the cardiovascular system to a certain degree. And it's been affecting it's really been challenging our ability to stay emotionally wise. I wonder about that. I wonder if maybe there's going to be a big vaccine rollout, like bigger than we're seeing, because I know they're getting it out already, but I think this is going to be a big push for that.
I think you could be right about February because I think they are not showing all of them, but the errors I hear with the vaccine are pretty big.
Yeah. And people are skeptical and there's a lot of misinformation. So I feel like by then there's going to be a lot more trust, hopefully, especially when people start seeing that the folks who are getting it earlier are more than likely going to be okay. I believe that very strongly. I believe in the science behind it pretty strongly too.
Right.
Okay, all right. So let's see. February, March, I have the Two of Cups and the Six of Pentacles.
More water.
Wow. Balance as well. Six of Pentacles I love the Six of Pentacles. This is a card of equanimity and a card of giving, receiving, and there's just like a lot of love happening in March.
I think so too. And I always see that card as the card that says yes.
Yeah, definitely. Go for it. It's like a go for it. It's a sink into it. It's a card of abundance. The Two of Cups and Six of Pentacles are both cards of abundance.
Yeah,
in my
I
mind.
like that. That's when I plan on going on a trip is in March. So yeah.
Same. Yeah, I'm going to try to get out to the desert sometime in March, I think. All right. April, we have the King of Wands.
Now, and we've both been, or not me, you were the first one that brought April into our circle of friends. And I've had two other, as we're doing these readings, I believe I've had two other in this group of this podcast talk about April. So King of Wands, fire.
King of Wands, fire. And the skies in this card are a little on the stormier side. There is, on top of his staff is a what do you call that? The Ouroboros. It's like the dragon eating its own tail. My guides are saying force of creation. So I think something new, I think, and something big is coming in April. I had an intuitive hit on it yesterday too, and I messaged you, and it feels like what they told me yesterday was leadership shift or change of leadership.
That's interesting. That would go along with all my stuff, that I don't think we're just going to have a Biden presidency.
Right. And interesting too that I had the King of Cups previous, what was that, in February? So we go from the King of Cups in February to the King of Wands in April.
And that's all male patriarchy. But we really could, I just don't think that Joe Biden or Trump look healthy. We could have a Kamala Harris.
I am not going to doubt that for 1 second. They're both very old too, man. Like, no, not to be ageist or anything like that, but
yeah.
Seriously, I think we're all kind of like holding our breath on that one. You know what I mean?
I don't think any of us want grandpa running the country.
Yeah.
Our own grandpas. Yeah. We go, oh, how old are you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Some shift is coming. We have May moving into Three of Pentacles and the Lovers.
All right.
Which is working towards a choice, but collaboratively. So if there is a shift in leadership, if there is a shift from water to fire, then we're left in May working together to choose how that is going to play out in the collective.
Right. Wow. That's a good choice, though. I like that. I like that backed up with what was before it.
Me too. The Three of Pentacles in this deck is beautiful. It's got a bunch of bees buzzing around a hive. So there's a lot of sweetness to it too. So it's not just collaboration. It's really enjoying the process of collaboration and knowing that you have something to offer as well as everybody else. It's a sort of more, I guess, interdependence based Three of Pentacles in this particular deck.
I love that. And that's how I would like to, I like to think of the rebuilding. I still think about group organizing and rebuilding, and that could be the rebuilding.
I hope so. I like that idea. I'm going to jump on that train. Let's see. Okay. I'm asking about June, and my deck is exploding. So they have a lot to say about June. Let me see if I can ask them to tone it down just a touch. Because that just happened 3 times in a row. Could I just get one, please? June of 2021. 2 of Swords. Interesting. There's a choice again. Stuck. Yeah, especially because the Lovers represents choice. And now we have 2 of Swords in a stalemate of sorts.
Yeah, that's how I always see that. Just don't do anything. Just sit still. It's getting dark.
Right. Yeah, the moon in the background is getting all eclipsed in this card too. So that's July. Oh, that was June. July, please. July 2021 is the Magician.
Interesting.
Lots of masculine energy that I'm pulling for this year.
I know. Maybe this is the year they're all fighting to go down. I mean, because all that made me think of his fake leadership.
Right. This Magician, too, in this deck is kind of on the more trickstery side. There's a look on his face that's like, oh, now you see it, now you don't. That kind of energy. Fascinating. Coming into August. I know I'm kind of blasting through this, but I want to look at all these. Oh, perfect. All right. August, please. That's 2 minutes. Oh, see, they want to tell me all the things. Let's do August. August is big too. So we've had June being big and we have August looking big. August looks like the 7 of Cups and the Page of Wands.
Wow.
September. Okay. Let's do that. September's 5 of Wands.
Okay, Resistance.
October is the Hermit and Page of Pentacles. Ooh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2020 vibes.
Out with the old, in with the new?
I think so, yeah. Ooh, I like that idea. Because the Hermit's coming maybe out to let us know something, giving us a little bit of hope. That was, this was August. September, October. November is the Ace of Pentacles.
All right.
And December is the Eight of Swords.
I wonder if we will be having another vote in November.
I wonder.
Wow.
Look at stuff. There's a lot going on here, specifically after April, about choice making and decision making. Because I've got, what would we say? We had the Lovers, the Three of Pentacles, and the Seven of Cups.
What if, I'm just going to throw this out and leave this here, what if the stuff that I am waiting for in January just got booted back?
I've been wondering that as well.
Maybe we get a little piece before it comes up. But, yeah, the transition. Well, thank you, Nimue.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me. Sorry, I kind of rushed toward the end there, but let's see what happens. And everything's always unfolding, so I'm sure we'll get more information down the road.
Exactly. So find Nimue at Femme Fatale Tarot, and it's in the show notes, so you don't have to write it down. So thanks, honey.
Thanks for having me, Karen. Always a pleasure.
All right, bye. Hey, it's Michelle Johnston from workingwellbydesign.com. Go back and listen to her episode with me where she did human design, right? Did I say that right?
You got it.
I loved it. In fact, I still have to get back with you about it because I'm still looking at things on my chart and it's just so good. Okay. And by the way, just raves. And I think your business was new this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, new this year.
Off the chart, people loving you. Okay. So, Michelle, tell us what are your predictions for 2021?
Okay, so what I thought we would do here in the time we've got today is I want to talk a little bit about the United States of America from a human design perspective. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to look at some key transitions happening mostly within the first part of the year. And then at the end, I want to share a dream that I had that feels maybe a bit prophetic and maybe a bit helpful. So does that sound good?
Fantastic.
Okay, so the first thing that's really interesting is I pulled the chart for the U.S. So the U.S. actually presents as an emotional projector, which is interesting. And what I wanted to let people know is that the whole world can be looked at as a body graph, as a human design system. And the U.S. actually sits in the throat center, which is the center of manifestation. So everything that we talk about here in North America is heard and echoed throughout the world. So whatever is coming down the pipeline in 2021 will be felt and echoed. That's just our job right now. It's our energetic placement. So that's really interesting to zone in on. Okay, so what did I want to tell everyone from here?
I have to tell you, it's so interesting. I've been talking to Nimue all the time, almost every day, and she's one of the people on here too.
Yeah.
And every time she goes to talk about the United States, she goes, "What's wrong with my throat chakra?"
Wow. Yeah. Totally fascinating. So just the events of this year as we look, felt and echoed around the world. The U.S. has an incarnation cross. So its life theme is the incarnation cross of individualism. And that makes sense, right? We see everything from our individual perspective. So that is kind of what flavors everything that we see here in North America. So it's not so much about community, but it's really just like knowing what I need as an individual. So when I look at the transit, so what happens in human design is we kind of can look at the planetary transits and the gates. The gates are kind of like flavors of experiences. I wanted to look at this in particular. So, okay. What I decided to do was look at the energy of January 1st. So what are we coming in with? We are coming in with gate 38.2, the gate of the fighter. Right? So what I think is going to happen is we're going to go to sleep during the holiday season and we're going to get activated collectively as we hit January 1st. So there's going to be like a truce over the holidays with everybody's, opinions. We're going to have an activation on the 1st. So the gate of the fighter is, it's all about what's worth struggling for, right? So we have like people on two sides of the spectrum that could get quite feisty about what it is they feel is worth fighting for. And it's really about becoming wise about the struggle. So hopefully we can like remain open to what matters around this. How we're going to communicate this time is in Mercury. So Mercury will sit in gate 54, the gate of drive. This is a projected gate, so it does well to just kind of sit back and wait to be invited, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think our throats are just going to be on fire. But there's a need to be, there's a lack of recognition that may come around here. So one side of the population may be feeling like, well, you're not hearing us. So we might get a little louder so that you will hear us. So it's going to be really feisty, I think, as we head into the new year. I wanted as well to take a look at January 20th. No, I know we don't like to get political.
No, it's okay. No, actually, everyone's getting political, and I encourage it on this one. And I've also named this date.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I was like, well, let's look at something interesting. Okay, so really interestingly enough, we have the gate of acceptance that comes in on January 20th. This is gate 60.5. 0.5. So if I give a gate and a point, it just means there's an additional layer there. The fifth aspect here is a very projected upon aspect. We don't have a lot of clarity. We project what we want to see at this time. But we're going into a deliberate, practical evolution. This is what this gate of acceptance is about. It's where the old is met with the new, and how perfect, like I'm getting chills thinking about that.
Yep.
So it's in the stars. It's perfectly aligned. But what we have to do, we have to accept the limits of what is working or what is not working in order to get done what we need to get done. Because it's got the 0.5, because it's a projected upon aspect, I don't know how clear this is going to be. It just sounds like a lot of noise from both sides because this energy is activated. So we're going to hear a lot of what people think isn't working. And, the other side will say, well, here's what is working. And I don't know if we get anywhere with it.
I think you're being very, very gentle with the way you're saying that, because I just saw a big 4 people were stabbed at a protest yesterday. I think that's more what's going to happen.
Yeah. So interesting. I know. I am being very gentle. Okay. So maybe I can
let it go. In fact, I have to tell you, watching your time, you could spend this whole time on January and I would be happy, because it's so
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know. It's so interesting. Yeah. So I just feel like both sides don't see each other. Talking politically, we're not seeing each other really clearly. There's a lot of projected aspects within the US's chart, just its birth chart, if you will, which is all about sitting back and waiting to be invited in. But then you've got the coloring of individual, like the theme of individual, the individual, right? I said that 700 times. So there's a lot of projected stuff going up, like, get it together, Mish. So January 20th, we've got in Mercury, we've got gate 13.6, the gate of the listener. Really interesting. So this gate compels others to share their secrets. So
I'm actually worried about some sort of assassination attempt, although I bet the Secret Service is probably more worried.
Interesting. Okay. I just got goosebumps all over my entire body. Yeah. It's not going to be an easy transition. What's really interesting. So we're taping this in December.
December 15th. Yep.
Right. And, so what I've been noticing is that folks who identify as Republicans have been really quiet up until this week. And it's almost like, I don't know, there's some kind of activation that has gone into play. And I feel like that gets exacerbated as we go forward. So there's a lot of power picking up there, whether it makes sense or it doesn't make sense to all of us.
No, it makes sense. In fact, I'm still wondering, and folks, like I said, I go out on a limb, I could be wrong, if the Supreme Court is going to step in, if his fight is not over. It's not over.
I don't think so. And I just don't get it.
No, it's not legal. Everyone says, well, that's not legal, Karen. He can't throw it that way. And we'll go a minute over because I'm cutting into you. But I feel like when has anything been done legally by,
no,
you don't even have to say Trump. When have we been following the law? I don't think that's the problem. That's the implosion.
Right. So that's actually really interesting. So when I look at the birth chart, I guess we would call it, say like a natal chart, whatever, in human design, the US's personality, so the sun sign sits in gate 39.5, which is the gate of provocation.
Well, yes, that is. And when you keep saying invited in, I am very worried. We are starting some crap with Iran, and it's going to be where, that like people went behind the troops in the Iraq war, and then we were like, hey, we shouldn't have gone in. Mm-hmm. So I hope we're not going to be provoked and distracted.
I hope so too, because distraction is an amazing tactic. Actually, with the war in Iraq, I remember very clearly being, I was wide awake at that point, and I was like, okay, but isn't it the Taliban that we have an issue with?
Right. And it
complete
was the Saudis.
Distraction.
It was the Saudis. And and when folks, just when you get to my closing on this, I have a really bizarre thing that you'll hear that I think goes on in my head. Okay, go ahead.
Amazing. Yeah. So the personality, just the natural personality of who we are in the US is about provocation, right? So it can be lighthearted and fun. But it can also be kind of nasty and really pokey and bitey.
That's us.
Right? And I'd rather have fun.
I know. We can be funny, but yeah.
What's really interesting is the base underneath all of this is that the goal, the purest goal of the US and their personality aspect is to remind people of the abundance that's available to all of us. So if we can just get clear on that and have that be a driver, it could be so much easier, but I don't know if we will. So the earth is where we're sort of grounded into this real world. And this is the gate of the fighter. Okay, I've got 1 minute left. Yes. Okay, real quick. 100th day in office, right? After the honeymoon period for the new president, the gate of finishing things. And then, which is all about arriving in the middle of a situation and doing what you can with what's been given there. Okay, my dream. I had a very real feeling dream. Our mutual friend Jessa called me. I was experiencing incredible shooting stars in this dream. And she says there could be a nuclear event. Let the people know. I woke up and in my lucidity, it was like, let the people know to buy potassium iodide pills, KI pills. You just want to have them if there ever was an event. I don't know if there will be, but better to be prepared. You take about 2 a day for the first couple of days to prevent damage to your thyroid. It was very real feeling. Talk to Jessa. She says, yeah, go ahead, share it, tell people. So that's my true prophetic vision for next year. It could potentially happen.
Okay. So here's what even reminds me even more. First of all, this, I would love to continue with you on another episode of this design, human design for the United States. So I'm going to schedule another one with you if that's okay.
Great.
Secondly, if anybody remembers the naturopath I had on, Dr. Dan, he was supposed to send me some no nuke pills. And I just heard from him today, and I'm going to schedule with him, and he can direct us on that because I think you're right. It's like a water purification system. Just have it and don't worry. All right, you're awesome. Listen, folks, thanks. I'm going to say to be continued. Her website is workingwellbydesign.com. I will have her on January or February because I think this is a really interesting layout. Workingwellbydesign.com, Michelle Johnston. Thank you, Michelle. Terry Huberman. That sounds like a good song. Terry, my friend forever, probably the second person on the podcast, I think, ever. Please tell us, what is your predictions for 2021?
Sure. So I actually broke it out by quarter. The energy is just so weird. It's like hard to really grasp it. So I'm going to break it out by quarter if you're cool with that.
Perfect. So some people only got to January.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hear you on that one. I mean, the energy is just so damn fluid. But okay. So basically January, February, March, it kind of just feels more the same. Like all of this leftover
garbage,
like slow and gloppy. I don't know, like slow and gloppy energy, like molasses. Although I will say that I do feel like the transfer of power for the presidency, I think it's going to go fine.
Oh, good.
I know,
right? You're kind of alone on that, but I wouldn't be surprised because timelines are slipping.
Yeah, I mean, look, exactly. So I do feel like that's going to be fine when it comes down to it. All right, so let's go into April, May, and June, shall we?
Sure.
So to me, this actually feels like this is the real new year. So it's like January, residual schmutz, yeah? So April, April, May, June, that is what I'm talking about. We're feeling frisky again, okay? So there's this real...
Get your condoms. Get your universe condoms.
Yes. Yes. So I'm springing our step, a real sense of renewal. And this is where I feel like the biggest jump in consciousness and awareness of new people like coming online. This is when it's going to happen. I feel like April, May, and June. The thing is like what I would be careful of. I did get like a heads up buttercup on this when I looked into it. It is about not overdoing it, because it's like, we've been punished in our rooms for so long, and now mom and dad like are letting us out to play again, and we're like running amok, right?
And tip your wait staff. Yes.
Yeah, please and thank you. Yeah, exactly. And I will say that I feel like health will be on the radar though. But it's more like people are finally like, okay, I'm ready to like commit to my health again. So there's just a lot more mental. It just feels a lot better. And so now I head into July, August, and September, right?
I just have to ask you, in that second quarter, is there going to be any hope for my hair? Will I have better hair? No. All right. Okay.
Nope, not at all. Everything bounces back except your hair, Karen.
Okay.
I love it. So now we're like in the summer, July, August, September. Like that just feels really strong and firm. It's like we realize that we're resilient as fuck. Like we are ass kickers. And what's really cool is that, again, prior quarter, we start to feel like we're coming back more healthy, So now we're like into our mental health now and how we're feeling. And so I do feel like people are going to want to actually manage, balance, and regulate themselves. So they're going to be seeking out like therapists, coaches, fitness instructors. But we're not coming from a place of victimization. We're coming from this place of empowerment. So
we
we're
already
like,
won. We won the battle, so we're going.
Yeah. But now we're like, okay, I just want to do better. It's like we've kind of, gotten a sense of how we were, and we're like, okay, this is where I know I can improve. So it's like, it's us 2.0. Actually, towards the end of the year, that's what I kind of feel like is like, we just start, there's like some sort of an analytics that we do on ourselves, right? So it's like we're comparing the previous year us, which is like where we are right now, right? To where we are in 2021 right now, us, right? So right now you and I are time traveling as we're speaking.
We do that.
Right? Yeah, of course. But it's really, it's just this really cool, empowering sensation. And we have learned a lot. It's just, that's when we start to like integrate it and start to realize what we learned. So that's pretty cool. And then towards the end of next year, October, November, December, I feel like there's going to be more like technology and communication services and stuff like that in the medical field.
Oh, nice. That would be a good...
Yes.
Well, would that be a good idea? Because the part of me is like, that sounds good. And then there's the big brother part of me that's like, you don't need to know all about me.
No, I get that. I'm one of these people like less government, better. That's me personally.
Yeah, and I'm getting torn on that. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm very much about that. But I got to tell you that this doesn't feel like it's a negative thing. It feels more like it's convenience, because there's also this aspect of technology where I was feeling like more stuff for the home is good for us too. So this, like, the technology feels more of like a convenience, not like a control. So that's where I'm happy, because again, this whole control thing is like total bullshit in my opinion.
And it's out of control.
Oh, it's totally out of control. And don't try and control me. Like, I just don't like people making decisions for me. But it's interesting because like for the majority of the year, like once we get through this first quarter, I feel like there's just this real sense of healing, recovery. We're getting back to ourselves. But then come towards the end of the year, when it comes to like politics and then our own personal, like just everyday stuff, I feel like we're going to be smacked with some sort of betrayal, actually. Like a lot of public information is going to be released.
You know, so, like, that is so interesting. And I'm going to I feel like that's funny. That's what I feel like this January is about.
Well, I mean, it could. I mean, I'm picking up, look, energy is fluid. I could be wrong with my timing, but I feel like this is next year.
Timing is the thing. I don't know if I think my timing was off for November, although I did have I think my timing is the one that's hard. And the way timelines are moving so fast now, it's so even
fast. Yeah. I mean, it's just so fluid. You know, I mean, I get that astrology can pinpoint exact dates and stuff, but energy doesn't, just stay in a nice, neat Tiffany box. So I don't know. I mean, it just feels like people are going to be regretting a lot of their choices and decisions. And there's going to be like the two feelings or the frequencies that I was picking up on were betrayal and embarrassment.
Wow. So it'd be like my Tinder account.
You and me both, kid. You and me both. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just, I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, you ask me every year, Terry, do these. And I'm like, yeah, sure. No problem. This year, you and I were talking. I'm like, I don't know that I could do this, Karen. I don't know. And you're like, just try.
But you know what, too? And I, of course, you're not hearing this, but I put something on in the beginning about how hard this is now. Yeah. So, it's a different, it's a different thing than ever before. So anyways, but
yeah, I mean, it feels more like general versus specific for me. And I think, again, I can only speak for myself. I'd like to think I'm not alone, but it's just the energy is just literally within 5 minutes, we could be into 5 different timelines, and God knows which timeline is actually going to be played out. You know,
if I'm so overworked and overstressed, but my original idea was to do a Facebook Live with all you guys New Year's Eve, and I just can't get things. I don't know. I must have a demon of ambition on me because it gets all, you should do that. And I don't have enough time. So, but I made it very clear that we're doing this on December 15th. And the best case scenario would be to do it January 1st, but I can't. That's not how I do my podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. So, I mean, basically, I did here. I don't know how much time we have left, but I just I did write out, okay, I have 1 minute left. Thank you. I like the biggest lesson in 2021 for us is to really be more individual in our thinking process and our mindsets, and like work on ourselves before we, take on the collective thought. Like so many people are rushing out to be so collective right now, but we're being collective from this like healthy and unhealthy individual place. Right. Yeah. So we got to work on ourselves before we work on the collective. And, my suggestion would be to connect with other humans that make you feel good, be as positive as possible, and get that continued support. Ground yourself into your body, get into your mind, design what you want to accomplish and be specific about it. Get into your heart so you can bring it to you.
You will like my predictions on the end.
Yeah. Okay, good. I can't wait.
Right there. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everyone. Wait. It's terryhuberman.com, TerryHuberman.com. Yes. It'll also be in the show notes. And Terry, you want to go there so they can direct to your YouTube channel, right?
Yes. Check me out on YouTube. I do some daily optimism. So I would love for you guys to check me out on the YouTube. Thank you so much for having me, Karen.
And I love those. And they turn up on your Instagram too, right?
Yes. Okay. Well, not all the time.
Not all the time. Okay,
I got different
YouTube.
content. Yeah.
Different content, people. Different content. That's all right. Thank you, Terry. Renee Watts is here. And you may remember her from, everybody's been on my show. So Renee is here. And Renee is giving us, her website is rainbowglitterstar.com. And she is giving us an astrological view. Renee, what do you have?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So there's plenty. I actually felt overwhelmed trying to decide what to hone in on.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do have a lot happening in 2021. We had a lot happening in 2020, but it's a different kind of energy. At the beginning of 2020, we had a conjunction between Pluto and Saturn is our structures. And Pluto is basically a big bulldozer that demolishes things. So it proves to me that astrology is real. That pretty much sums up 2020, and that was what happened in January.
Wow. Okay, bulldozer in January, right?
Yes, exactly. And I mean, that was an intense aspect because Pluto is basically power. It's power and it's destruction, and Saturn is everything that we rely on for order and authority and government, and it sort of just like keeps things stable. So if I'm looking at astrology, that's why 2020 was such a dumpster fire. Like, blame Pluto and Saturn.
Yes.
So if I'm looking at 2021, I actually, for me, the energy that I'm looking at is sort of starting at the end of this year, December.
Okay.
We have two significant conjunctions happening. I'm sure you've heard people talk about the Great Conjunction that's happening.
That's on the 20th of December?
21st.
21st,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what time zone you're into. So I think that will have a difference. But I mean, what's really cool about that is that it's on the solstice. So already there's like this little like additional magical element going on with it.
Okay.
And so we have a conjunction there. And when I say conjunction, I basically mean that two planets are aligning so that they're basically right on top of each other. Okay. And when this happens, they basically like egg each other on. And they just sort of like, there's almost like a combustion of energy that happens. And we have a Saturn, which again it's sort of like authority and stability. It's also rules. It can be karma, but it's a very restrictive, controlled energy. Like this is where we get our control from. These are the structures that we have. And it's conjuncting with Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, and luck in a lot of ways and optimism. So what's really cool about this conjunction is that it's happening in Aquarius at 0 degrees. And I know that when someone's trying to explain astrology, it becomes convoluted and you're like, okay, sure. Yeah. 0 degrees in Aquarius, fine. But this is, this is kind of cool because a lot of astrologers are looking at this as like the dawning of another age of Aquarius. Wow. Or the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Right, okay. And so it's supposed to be, a very innovative time. And just for the record, no astrologer has really been able to agree on a very specific date that the age of Aquarius happens. Like some people say it was like 6 years ago. Some people it's kind of like the age of Aquarius can be marked by significant Aquarius energy. So that's why this is considered one of them. Does that make sense?
It does. And actually that makes sense to me that nobody's agreed on the date because I think it's a bleed over, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that when we look at astrological calculations, we are measuring where these planets are in a specific moment. But I think that the energy that the planets bring and that the aspects bring can be a little bit nebulous. So it's like we feel the energy coming in before a degree even becomes exact. Wow. Or an alignment becomes exact. So, but if we are going to look at the exact thing that's happening here, dawning this sort of age of Aquarius, if we're looking at the fact that we have Saturn, who's like a cop, and it's our structures, is matching up with Jupiter, this optimistic energy in Aquarius, which is like an innovative, evolutionary sign. This is sort of like the energy that we're bringing into 2021 is about how we're rebuilding our structures because they were demolished. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is like some of the energy here, it can create even more like fanaticism. So ideally, when we're looking at Aquarius energy, we're hoping that people are evolving, that we're learning to work together, and that we're learning to sort of like figure out how to rebuild ourselves as a society. But that's not always necessarily the case, because we will have people coming in who don't want to change, who are resistant to change. That's where that Saturn energy kind of can come in, you know, where they're stuck to the old ways. And I think that we will see people who are feeling like they're freaking out because of how much is changing. And I'm thinking about, you know, the fact that we have a new administration coming in and Trump, the cult of Trump. And I don't want to alienate any of your listeners, but like a lot of the people who are big Trump people, there can be like a rigidness to their beliefs and their values where they won't entertain any idea that doesn't align with their own, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that with some of those people, that divide will become even more defined. And in some ways, they'll become even louder. So I don't think that we've heard the end of Trump at all, even with, you know, the new administration coming in. I just think that it's going to take a new sort of direction. But I think that, like, you know, people are going to be just as loud as they've ever been.
Yeah.
When it comes to that.
I think that's the, I feel like that is the sort of the wild card that if that whatever happens in January resets that. Do you know what I mean? Like how much violence is there or something like that? It's really weird.
Yeah. And, you know, it's hard too, because I think, you know, when I'm just looking at the aspects as they spread out throughout the rest of the year, there's a lot of start and stop energy where it's like, oh, it looks like we have progress, but then like we get hit with something that is kind of making us stuck, where it's like we see where we need to evolve, but then there's some sort of, you know, it could be like legislation or whatever is going on in politics that like stops things from moving forward. Or it could be like, okay, we have all these vaccines and people I think are going to be really excited about, you know, the COVID vaccine coming in. And then I think that we're going to hit hiccups about distribution. And then I think we're going to hit walls against people who don't want to take it. And that throws off herd immunity. If you know what I mean, like there has to be I'm looking at this from like an astrological and a pragmatic point of view, where it's like I'm still going to read the news and look at the astrological charts, and I know that a certain percentage of people have to take the vaccine in order for it to truly help us. And so we're going to have this starting, stopping energy where the people who want to who are in a hurry to move forward are, you know, okay, let's get the vaccine, let's do this. Oh, but there aren't enough vaccines. Okay, there are enough vaccines now. Oh, wait, now these people don't want to take it. And so now we all still have to wear masks. So it's like, I think that people are going to expect, you know, like, oh, like we have all this change coming, but it's going to be painstaking. I think it's going to drag on a lot longer than we want it to. And so that patience will be really important. You know, I think that technology will probably get a kick this year, a boost this year. People will, you know, I think be open to having intellectual conversations, but we're still going to be met with so much resistance.
You know, real quick too, because I don't want, we're there. But I want to ask you this. Do you see violence for January? Because I truly thought it was starting in November, and I feel like we dodged it, or it's under the wire and we're not seeing it. I mean, yesterday was a pretty violent day in the news, but other than that.
Yeah, so I do think that like at the end of, I actually made a note about this. So at the end of January, Mars, which is the planet of aggression and passion and war, conjuncts Uranus, which is basically like the wild card of the zodiac. So those like aggression and, you know, the wild card are egging each other on. And at that same time, they are squaring off. So basically like they're picking a fight across the cosmos with like 4 other planets over the course of like, I just wrote the end of January because there are so many dates, basically. But I do think that at the end of January, because Mars, which is the planet of aggression, has so much going on in terms of like conflict in the cosmos, I definitely think that there's potential there. And I think that, you know, we could see situations where things that started out as like small disagreements at protests. I mean, on January 8th, which is 2 days before Trump takes office, or not Trump leaves office.
Or the 20th. I think it's the 20th is the inauguration. You're right.
Yeah. So on that day, we have like basically conflict in astrological terms, conflict that starts out small could escalate very quickly and becomes big very quickly. And it would be based on like a stubbornness towards change. You know, if you want, I could go through and explain all the aspects, but again, it's like kind of convoluted.
Right. But I think we got, and this was exactly, I've had you and somebody else just focusing on January as kind of that is exactly what I want. Cause I think if we get past January and February, we'll be on the other side of everything I don't like.
Right. And, you know, Mercury retrograde starts on January 30th, too. So it's like, it's just starting out right away. And we have a ton of retrogrades in the summer. So that's why, like, I think it's just going to be a start-stop year. Like, we think we're making progress. No, we're not. We made a little bit, like, you know, one step forward, two steps back sort of a thing. So, you know, hold on to your patience. Art will be a good outlet just because of all the Aquarius energy coming through. But, you know, I think we're going to see a lot of the same people being stubborn and, you know, fighting change.
Right. Thank you so much, Renee. I know 10 minutes is short.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk astrology with you on my podcast soon anyways. So everyone.
Yes, I would love that.
rainbowglitterstar.com, Renee Watts. And that's wonderful. Anything. Oh, and your Instagram is also Rainbow Glitter Star.
Yep, that's it.
Awesome, honey. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love talking to you.
You too, hon. So everybody, now I'm so excited before I bring up Eddie Connor, a gentleman everyone loves. I have to tell you, he did a reading for me last year that was so good. And he said, you are going to find two men that are so good looking. You're going to say, if I knew that I could get guys like this before, I wouldn't have believed it. And Eddie, that came true. As you know, I'm on my way out today on a date. So thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
I know. Everyone knows I've had sort of an awakening, shall we call it, and now it's the truth. If I knew I could ever get guys like this, so thank you for that. So everyone, so Eddie, now tell us, and then at the end, I'm going to have you tell everybody where they can find you and where your new podcast is and what is going on. What do you see coming up for 2021?
Thank you, Karen. Listen, I dove into this head first. I was having a ton of fun with it. So we have a little theme here. It's kind of a cross hybrid between The Wizard of Oz and The Poseidon Adventure.
That's quite the mix.
Yeah, the original with Shelley Winters. So the theme for 2021 is be aware, don't absorb, and follow your inner guidance system. Okay. And just like in The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy's doing her own adventure down the yellow brick road or the wormhole, whatever you want to call it. And in the Poseidon Adventure, in 2020, our entire world was turned upside down. Everything we thought, everything we've always been associated with got flipped. Mm-hmm. And during the course of both of the movies, the main characters are following their inner guidance system and learning to not get absorbed into the environment around them, but instead to stay aware. So to launch it, some of what I picked up, I'm just going to jump around all over the world, if that's okay.
Jump right around.
So the first thing is there will be some global military activity where they're going to be called to serve. So there's already been a lot of military activity behind the scenes that countries of the world don't know about yet. It will be made public in 2021. And the thing I keep getting with that is it feels good. It doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel like we're trying to be taking another country into war. It feels like it's for sovereignty. It feels like a good thing. Also in 2021, watch for some blackouts and some internet problems. Now, we know there's supposed to be a big solar flare that's going to happen between now and I think the end of January, but nobody can predict exactly when because, hello, it's the sun. Okay. And then there will be some electrical blackouts too, along with some of the media blackouts and other things like that. I don't feel like it's anything horrible, negative, or scary. But if you're one of those people who are cautiously optimistic, just stock up on about a week's worth or 2 weeks worth of food and water if you feel like you need to. Now we're going to take banking for 200, Karen. Believe it or not, the central banking systems are collapsing in 2020, and we're going to get evidence of that in 2021. So keep your eyes on things like the Federal Reserve, the IRS, and watch how the banking conglomerates and corporations are going to have to start finagling their way into new systems they will be pushed into. They're not pushing us into new systems. They're being pushed into new systems. So that's going to be a big, good thing for us.
Well, that's the housing market. The interest rates on a loan right now are 1%. And also, I think buying into Bitcoin is important right now.
You know, I muscle tested that. Be extra vigilant and go do your research with Bitcoin. What's going to happen with the banking system is the United States is getting ready to acquire, if we haven't already, mountains and mountains of our original gold that was locked away wherever. I don't understand the specifics of it, but the gold-backed dollar, the silver-backed dollar is coming in vogue in 2021, and the fiat dollar is going out. So the fiat dollar doesn't have anything to back it. Our new quantum financial system, whatever it's going to be called, will be backed by gold and silver, but there won't be anything solid to back Bitcoin yet. So keep your eyes and ears on the new money that could be part of what they may call the quantum financial system.
Can I jump back to world politics and ask you just one thing that maybe isn't even on your list? I am very, very nervous about the Saudi prince. The prince that they gave all the weapons to and stuff like that. I think he's going to be a world problem coming, maybe not 2021, but I think he's a problem.
I feel like that will get nipped in the bud between 2021 and 2023, to be honest. Good. Excuse me. I also feel like we're moving toward more global peace. I know that sounds impossible. I'm not saying it'll happen tomorrow, but I am saying that is where we're headed, a more global community where we're all together and really moving away from war. As a matter of fact, I was shocked whenever I tuned into the politics. I feel people are going to go, yay, boo. But Donald Trump, I feel like, is going to get back in the White House. And some people say there's less than a 31% chance of him having a victory like that. And, even when I went a little further, I'm scared he could be reelected again in that once he's in, then I keep getting exposed truth. And I have to tell you, I did the muscle testing. I tuned into the Dominion voting systems and the whole 9 yards. And Karen, there is some weird stuff going on there where it will come out that the systems were rigged.
I 100% agree with you. And I went on a couple of political podcasts and said this, and I said there's a reversal coming. And I'm going to give you an extra couple minutes because I'm doing all the talking now. But not only, my friend Jimmy Dore, who I watch, who's a political guy, who's he just wants for the people. He yells for the people and he kind of hates both sides. He just posted something about how they found, they said they had debunked it before, that Pete Buttigieg didn't win Iowa. And he just put out something. There was a article in The Intercept, because it was all debunked, and they found out now the Shadow app was made and worked by Hillary Clinton's people. So that is, and all you need is one thing that says it went wrong in one piece, and Trump has an argument.
Well, and I was feeling like there are going to be political leaders that are going to be tied directly to owning or having stock in some of these systems, and that's the end of their career. Also, Julian Assange, we know that he dropped some more emails and that sort of thing. That's going to solidify exactly what you and I are talking about right now.
Yeah, he's not done. I don't think Biden's going to be president, and I don't think Trump is going to last long.
I don't think so either. He might hand the reins over. Oh my God! I just also got that Mike Pence will probably not be standing beside of him. And I feel like Pence is going to. I literally feel like he's doing a song, on the stage at the Apollo Theater, and that big cane comes out and rips his ass off the stage. And so it feels like he is out. That just came out of left field.
Yeah. And you know what else, folks? We are recording. I feel like I had talked to you before. Everything from November, either somebody said to me that I was correct, but everything was happening much covertly and less acute, that these things were going on that I thought, because I really was seeing big things. And you had said, I think we dodged a bullet, but I think that we just pushed everything back to January. I think something's coming.
I do too. And I just got goosebumps when you said it. It feels like something the world has never seen. Mm-hmm. It also feels like the truth gets exposed. I also feel COVID will be part of the truth that's exposed. Now, some people are saying it's the biggest scam ever done on the human race.
Yeah.
And it isn't, because it was done in 1918 during the Spanish flu and a whole bunch of other times. Even during the plague, they were tracking and tracing people then to control them.
And everybody watch at the end of January, and I know everyone's going to wince, but I just taped one with a guy from the Flat Earth Society. Think what you will. He made some great points. You don't have to agree that the earth is flat, but I say this is a do not miss. And he goes way over with COVID, exactly what you're saying. But it's the information is there, so everyone can make their own decision. And I invited first responders to send emails, because he was saying hospitals knocked off, they closed down like 9 floors, and they're making the first floor look like it's just a big emergency. So I would love to hear from first responders that can go, nope, that's not it, or yeah, or whatever. Just please feel free.
I've heard the same thing from certain people I know that work in the industry, in the medical community and stuff. And a lot of people got laid off. A lot of people got fired. And yeah, I heard the same thing, Karen. Speaking of COVID, I feel like there's going to be a cure. Well, first of all, I know for a fact that COVID was patented, trademarked, and copywritten. I know that. I also know that there was a cure or vaccine for it that's trademarked, copywritten as well. But I feel like in another country, there's going to be a cure that will literally kill 99% or more of the COVID-19 virus. And it feels intuitively like, when you go to the grocery store and you scan your produce or whatever, it feels like light, scanners, frequencies, beams, UV. I don't even know what it is, but we will probably hear about this as early as February 2021, but no later than June and July.
Yes, folks, if you can, I know everyone's going to hate this, but if you can hold off on your vaccine decision till February, which probably it won't get to most people anyways, yes. And I have heard sort of similar things through astrologers, so I think you're dead on, Eddie.
And I agree with Karen on this. I am not an anti-vaxxer and I'm not a pro-vaxxer. I am saying be like Dorothy, get your ass on the yellow brick road, be like Roddy McDowell and Gene Hackman, lead with your inner guidance system whenever the Poseidon turned upside down by that rogue wave that we were hit by in the United States and by the world. The world was hit by it. The world was flipped upside down, and there's a handful of people. And what has it always been throughout recorded history? When there is somebody who marches to the beat of their own drummer, the people in charge push them out of the circle. And we're just simply saying, do your research. And the vaccines are not safe yet. But they could be later. But don't take it in. Try not to even take the test if you can help it right now.
And also, and I'll just put this in as a disclaimer, you don't have to get your medical advice from psychics, but you're welcome to, you know what I mean? Like, This is my gut. My gut says no.
Yep. And that's how we'll get out of the ship alive.
And, I agree so much. I'll just throw this. I think I said this before. I'm just going to throw this in. When Robert Kennedy gets the vaccination, I'll get it. And everybody go watch anything you can on Robert Kennedy, who won the case to get the whatever extra they had that vaccine. And I talked about this before, and all those kids got autism. He went against the companies and got what's taken out. Now I'm not even making sense. Eddie, go ahead. I got so excited. We're going to go over 10 because I can't stop. You got me all excited.
Listen, I'm excited too. And that's a great hypothesis. If he gets it, then I would get it too, because he has gone down the rabbit hole to understand what's in it and what the legislation is in the whole 9 yards. That was really, really astute, Karen. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure. And folks, you won't see him on any of the national news companies, but you will see ads for every pill the people that make the vaccine on. So in other words, he's not on there for a reason, because these companies that he's going up against own your news channels.
That's exactly right. Well, the other thing is, I'll get to that in a second, because Fauci is probably going down. And people love him and people don't like him, but he's going down. So now I'm going to switch over to International Spotlight, Karen.
Yay!
So I feel like...
Which is the same thing I call my dating now, International Spotlight.
Okay, child, you need some theme music, Baron. Chicka, bam, bam. So in International Spotlight, we're looking at the United Kingdom, the U.S., and Canada. So we're talking about COVID. People are sick and tired of the authorities jerking our chains, giving us misinformation. So yes, there's going to be infringing on our constitutional rights. So there will be more people marching in the street. There's going to be the peaceful protests, and there's going to be some negative kind of protests. But it's not just here anymore. It's going to be all over the world. And you won't see that mostly on mainstream media either. They don't want you to see people getting out and fighting for their rights. In Italy, there's going to be what feels like a political crisis and a lot more chaos. Now, they got hit really hard with COVID, but I also feel like something with their political system, their parliament, and it feels like it could just shut down all over again before it gets fired back up. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about Europe. So in Europe, there's going to be a little bit more unrest. And like here and there'll be some hard economic times, but we're going to be able to get through it. And child, let's just jump right on over to Canada. Okay. Because Justin Trudeau is either going to resign or be taken out of the office by force, Karen. And let's just jump back over across the pond one more time to the Vatican. So the Vatican is going in 2021. The things that will be exposed with the Catholic Church or the Vatican specifically is going to blow people's mind. No one will believe it. Talk about cognitive dissonance. No one's going to believe it. But the biggest thing that's going to be revealed is the underground, high-tech, high-security, underground, 50 miles underground tunnels where the Vatican, sometimes in harmony with the Smithsonian, have been hiding things for centuries from the rest of the world. Now, your Flat Earth Society guy talks about this too, that everything we've learned in the last 150 years, predominantly in the educational system, is a lie.
And memorization.
There you go. And all of this is all hidden under the Vatican and along with the Smithsonian that proves that we didn't evolve from apes and that sort of thing. But wait, there's more. That there's life on other planets and solar systems. And we have been in contact systematically, consistently with beings from other parts of the world. But let me jump over to Buckingham Palace, okay?
All right.
Because the royals I feel like they're already been removed from Buckingham Palace. I feel like they have some kind of weird, unethical ties to the Vatican and to certain high-profile families. But the royals at the Buckingham Palace, they're either going to be removed by force, or the people will have them removed, or military will have them removed. But they're out.
Which might explain why the other Prince Harry and the pretty girl left. Well, they're all pretty that they married, but they're in Canada, right?
That child in Santa Barbara.
Oh.
They were in Canada, then they fled Canada. I have a feeling because of Justin Trudeau being a traitor. Okay. And you spelled treason.
Wow.
And this is a weird off-the-cuff thing, but I followed this case a little bit. And Madeleine McCain, the little girl who disappeared over in Portugal, I feel like that case is going to get solved. And you know what? I have a really strong feeling about, Karen, that the people who perpetrated that, who were involved in it, are going to be tracked all the way back from Portugal to Washington, D.C., and they could be a really good friend of a certain Clinton family.
Okay.
And the last thing is, again, I feel like we're heading. I know it sounds science fiction and Jane and Judy Jets, and I'll be Judy if you be George. Okay. There's going to be some space travel things for everyday citizens that will start to be presented as early as 2021 and 2022, and then technologies will be revealed tied to space travel and that sort of thing in 2021 as well. But here's something. 23andMe and Ancestry.com, I have a feeling they're going to end up like a bunch of with class action lawsuits like COVID will.
Good.
Because they are selling people's DNA and doing things unethically with it. That's a breach of their contracts and that sort of thing. I have a feeling they're going down. But you know what they're going to try to do to save their Tukukas, honey? They're going to go in and say, well, we're donating the DNA to law enforcement agencies so we can create a global database to cut down on crime.
Which we don't want. And also, they've already been giving it to the government.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And lastly, there's going to be some mass arrests like never before seen in human history. With the world, is going to involve politicians. It's going to involve celebrities. It's going to involve philanthropists, millionaires, billionaires, and royalty.
And I have 3 questions. Do you know who's going to be doing the arresting? Because I think if it comes down to Trump, the police are going to back him.
I feel like the military.
Okay, somebody will come out of the military and actually be the good voice of the people.
Yes, and what's her name? What's her name? The woman from Durham, North Carolina, honey, who stepped up there. Sydney.
Oh, a lawyer? She's a lawyer?
Yes. She's a military lawyer. She's the one who stepped up that is not even on the payroll in this administration, who is trying to get to the bottom of the Dominion voting scandal.
Okay.
So I feel like it's going to be the military that backs up the arrest. And my sources say, honey, that Guantanamo Bay has been expanded extensively since 2017.
Wow. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Preparing for the arrest.
And also, this is coming out on the 1st. Folks, I believe, I'm not positive, but I think I have a QAnon connection that I will be putting out a bonus episode the first week of January, which might just totally confirm what you're saying, Eddie.
Oh, my. Wow. Ding, 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 ding.
I know. I have 2 questions for you real quick. And folks, this is what I want you to do. Go onto YouTube, look up The Jimmy Dore Show, and watch DNC Election Interference, New Revelations, Bernie Buttigieg, and Iowa. I think it came out on December 26th. Don't get it confused. It's the 25th or 26th. Don't get it confused with the articles because if you Google it, it's just going to say debunked, and it's going to send you back a couple of years. This is The Jimmy Dore Show, and he shows a picture of Buttigieg walking to his car, and he says, how awkward is this? The guy that just got told he won. And the look on Buttigieg's face is like a mannequin that was told to smile, and he doesn't say a word. And to me, that looks like what happens when an honest person goes into politics, fights hard, and then sits around a table and they go, so, we fixed it for you. Now you're going to do this. And it is stunning to watch. So that's the first thing. The second thing, Eddie, this is just my conspiracy theory, but the fireworks. The fireworks going off all the time. 4th of July, it was like 2 months of it. And then on the 4th of July, every city, and the national TV did not cover this, had a Trump Confederate flag parade. Every city had one. If you look it up, you will find it. The major cities had them. The smaller cities had them. My sister lives in a town of 300 people, and there was a 4-car Confederate flag parade. Now we're at Christmas again with the fireworks all the way through New Year's. And everyone says, oh, Mexican people do that. They have never done it like this before. I feel like this is some sort of Trump QAnon communication.
I feel like you're exactly right. I also feel like one of the things that these negative, awful people do behind the scenes, and by that I'm talking about deep state players and that sort of thing, who are mass controlling everything. They will launch a counterattack. Like, I know for a fact that whenever there were massive Trump rallies this past year, they were going to the negative people that were anti-Trump, anti-freedom, anti-whatever, were coming into the mix, and they were mingling with them, and then they were just going to unload on the crowd.
Okay.
And so some people say it's psychological warfare, meaning they just keep you on edge for weeks at a time, so you can't think right, you can't reason properly.
You're jumping, you're waking up in the middle of the night by fireworks.
Yep. And so when you're on edge, you can't trust your intuition. You can't trust your interguided system. You can't trust thinking reasonably, because you're already frazzled. It's a form of, and this is going to sound so big and over the top, but it is a form of consistent MK Ultra.
Oh.
It's to keep you frazzled and scattered so that it's easier to take over a population whenever they're already worn down and beat down.
Oh, my God. Eddie, I love you. Okay, Steve, every time you say something, I think one more thing. Okay, one more thing.
Yeah.
I have to put on my makeup for my date, but I'm like, I can't stop. Right now, and we're taping this. I'm doing a different date with Eddie. We're the 27th of December. Paranormal activity is amped up unbelievably to where I'm seeing it with my eyes. So is UFO activity. Number one, I feel like the veil is gone. They're here now.
Yes.
Number two, does the UFO activity, do you think that's part of like something we're going to see, or they're here? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm asking, but it seems like right now everything is right there.
Everything is right here. They have been interacting with us since the beginning of time. And the veil between worlds has dropped. It dropped around 2012-ish. it dropped again on December 21st of this year, just days ago. And so we are launched into the dawn of the age of Aquarius. So our quantum sleeping junk DNA got activated on December 21st. So we have 2 strands of human DNA. We have 10 strands of quantum invisible DNA that is in the process of becoming crystalline. What is the etheric realm? It is light. It is invisible. It is crystalline frequency, is quantum. So we are right now, you're going to see more things intuitively, psychically, empathically, and sensitively. All of us are, like you have never seen, felt, or experienced in your entire life. Coincidences, synchronicities, I call those soul chronicities, girl, are going to be amped up even more. The extraterrestrials are here. They are multidimensional. They have access to the dimensions in a way we don't. But I have heard and felt and received that the lower dimensional ETs that are not here in the purest way are off planet. They are not in the Earth's atmosphere anymore. That some people have even gone as far as to say the intergalactic Federation of Light came to the planet. They were never to interfere with planet Earth unless it got to a tipping point that we as humanity could not recover from. And so we did dodge a bullet. The veil between worlds has dropped. We are going to see things, ghosts, spirits, angels, dead people, the whole 9 yards in ways we've never seen or experienced before. And this is what is causing us to move toward a unified global desire for peace and connection to source energy. So what happens at the end of The Wizard of Oz? The curtain is pulled back from this big, massive thing that's so intimidating. You see this little bald old man sitting back there, probably with hemorrhoids on a stool. And what is happening right now? The desire of the human race is pulling back the curtain because we're trusting our inner guidance system. We're learning to be aware, to elevate our consciousness instead of absorbing what we're force-fed by mainstream media and other outlets that have an agenda that is not in harmony with us following our heart and our soul.
Right. God, and what a thing that on the 21st our DNA is changed, and yet we just had COVID trying to change our DNA.
Yes. And listen, and that's another reason. Do not listen, I know when this first batch came out, did you know that they sent it straight to the military labs?
Well, I'm sure they had to test it on someone. And
yeah, to make sure and I feel like it's a trap, to be honest. If these pharmaceutical companies, which, it's a mafia, these pharmaceutical companies, if they have guidelines they have to follow. If they did not follow the guidelines and then the military or this administration or whoever sent the first vaccines over to the military labs to be tested, they will know if they followed the protocol or not. Wow. And then they will be shut down. And that poor nurse who took the vaccine and then went on camera to talk about it, she died. She passed out. The doctors and nurses were around her, and they changed her family's name on social media and everything to her friends so you wouldn't know it was her. So why do you have to cover up something like that from the human race and continue to put the human race in jeopardy if it's, quote, safe?
Plus, who's getting what? That's the thing. We are not getting the same medical care or shot in the arm that presidents or whomever they're deeming important is. There's no way we're getting the same one.
100%. Justin Trudeau got saline solution shot in his arm. And we're going to get something that's, listen, the word conspiracy theory was coined by who? The FBI. And they coined the term conspiracy theorists to push the people who followed their inner guidance system outside of the social norm. They made the people who did the research, did the homework, the bad guys. And by the way, from what I understand, the FBI was first created to get rid of our Native American population.
Ugh, I know.
So they are not for helping us as citizens. Therefore, they have their own agenda. And this is the truth that gets exposed when the little bald guy pulls the curtain back in 2021 to prove we're all going to get safely rescued from the upside down ship that was 2020. The curtain will be pulled back. We're going to make friends with 2020, roll over into 2021, awake, aware, and absolutely connected to our source energy.
All right. My God, you scared me and made me feel better all at the same time.
Oh, my God. It's like being on a date with me.
Oh, my God. Eddie, you're amazing. Please tell everyone where they can find you. And you have a new podcast.
Thank you. I do have a new podcast. It's called Coming Out with Liz and Eddie. And it's coming out, it's spelled A-U-T instead of O-U-T because we were doing it phonetically, honey. And you can see and hear it on 40 different podcast platforms all over the world. And I have a website. It's simply EddieConner.com. And it's spelled C-O-N-N-E-R instead of O-R because I'm an honey, not a or. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds like a Massachusetts mistake I may have made. I apologize if I do, because we hack vowels in Massachusetts. That's what we do. We hack them to pieces. Oh, my God. Thank you, Eddie. This is an incredible way to finish out this episode. And my predictions are after his. So, oh, my God, Eddie, you're fantastic. I can't wait to have you on again.
I can't wait. Love you, Karenrontowski.
Love you.
All right, everybody. Are you ready for my predictions? Okay. And these are a little scattered. And I like to try and go out on a limb for you guys. I like to try and kind of bring it in. I hope I got some specific stuff in here for you. I feel like timelines are changing. You'll hear that, especially right now. As I said, we're in December 15th. I feel like a lot of us, especially as psychic people, are getting strange downloads. We are feeling timelines shift. Things are not exactly, you can't pinpoint them right now. When I do my readings, I feel like I can for people, but I can't, the general stuff for out there for 2021 is a little bit harder. Although I do have to say, I got, especially when I pulled cards, Nimue and I had a lot of the same cards. So the first one, this is a very interesting download that I got. Get your place clean. Have a ritual for energetically cleansing your place. I did a podcast. It's a bonus episode. I think it's like number 30 or something. It's 20 minutes long. It's about cleansing your home. This is going to become even more important. You've probably felt it now. I think it was Amy Spicer I was talking to. I can't remember. But I'm name dropping now. One of the things we were talking about, the veil is not thin anymore. The veil is gone. Okay, so these things that were sort of on the other side in the next dimension, for anyone that kind of wants that, I always give this analogy that there was a book, an ancient book called Flatlands, about these people that lived on a two-dimensional universe, which is a piece of paper. Okay, two-dimensional is a piece of paper. A three-dimensional orb comes by and passes through their second dimension. So this is something they have never seen before, but because they can't see into the third dimension, all they see as the orb passes through their paper universe is a dot that turns into a line, and the line gets bigger, and then the line gets smaller, because that is how a globe, shall we say, would pass through a piece of paper. So use that analogy as for the fourth, fifth dimension, the other dimensions that we are in the third. We're not going to see everything. I don't think we can comprehend everything. All I want you to know is it's there. It's important this year more than ever that you keep your space energetically cleansed. Here's the other thing. Empaths who have probably had hard time with this before. This is really weird to say, but you have been given the armor. All you have to do is put it on. It's not going to be as hard as it was. You'll be able to step back and take a look at that. But I don't know what that means. You've been given the armor. All you have to do is put it on. Okay, these are my positive ones. But I do feel like something about keeping stuff out of your house is going to be important. My positive ones are here. My negative ones are at the end. The universe is hearing what you say right now. Say it out loud 3 times what you're looking for next year. Security, money, this and that, I feel like our priorities are changing. That may have been what COVID was, where if we wanted a great car, now we just want security. Say what you want out loud 3 times. The universe is hearing you. Make sure one of the things you ask for is compassion for those that you are not on solid footing with, okay? That could be parents, that could be friends, that could be Trump supporters, it could be Biden supporters. Ask for compassion for them. That doesn't mean you have to make apologies or ask for apologies or talk for anything. That's an inner thing. Make sure that's one of the things you ask for. Okay, here is the other thing. Learn to tune in to numbers. We are receiving different information, okay? Whatever is happening with our abilities, whether it's telepathic, whether it's empathic, numbers are coming easy. There is, when you go to ask someone how old they are, listen in your head. When you go to ask how much does that cost, listen in your head. Numbers are coming very, very easy, and they're sort of this transforming thing where you can learn telepathy or psychic stuff. But numbers. Also, this kind of goes with cleansing your home. There's a really powerful song that I listen to every morning, and it's by Jane Winther. Winther, Jane Winther, and it's just called Om, O-M, and it seems to cleanse my home and just put my mind in such a different place. People are talking a lot about binary beats, which I agree with that too. But for some reason, this song by Jane Winther is really powerful. Also, Alexa makes you say Jane Vintner. I don't know why. She makes me say it that way. So numbers. Okay, we are still in a water phase. I agree with Nimue and a lot of astrologers on this. Water is going to be the issue for everything, whether it's fires and there's not enough water to put it out, whether there's floods, whether there's droughts, everything will be about water. It's in my home. It's a small microcosm of what's going on. I had troubles with the bath water. I had trouble with the bathroom sink. I had trouble with the kitchen sink. I did everything. I was even saying, if there are water fairies in here, please just let me know what you need so I can stop. Water. A date to watch for, the inaugural date. Stay inside. Your new phase when this is going on, your new phrase, is I'm in the back row with popcorn. There are certain things you need to stay out of. I believe January inaugural day is going to be bad or scary. Sit back with your popcorn, stay out. LA, first 3 months. Okay, I'm actually going to put January in there. First 3 months, the earth will shake. All right, I feel like we have it coming. Mother Earth is mad. If we make it past the first 3 months without a big one, I think we're in the clear. But I'm putting it right in those first 3 months. Okay, probably January actually, but let's leave that there. The other thing, I know I'm jumping around quite a bit. The stimulus package, that is a timeline changer. And I will tell you, if the government gets it together and through Trump and everybody passes the stimulus is not, just a little crumb. It's like if you're hungry, it's just a little crumb, just a little, we're going to let you taste the cookie. Okay? It's literally keeping this at bay, because I will tell you, food lines, I donate to food banks. All right? People need food. Crazy that in this century, the United States is saying people don't have food. I know it's always been a problem, but it is enormous now. I want to buy a trailer. You know what? This is not the year to save for a trailer. This is the year to give. If you have it, give it. Because the masses, this one breaks my heart. Okay. Patriarchy will be white knuckling it January and February. Nimue, I had almost the same cards. All these kings are coming up. This is people, and listen to the sirens in the background as I say this. There they are. Here they come. Here comes the patriarchy. Okay. They will be white knuckling, holding on January and February. So I believe we're going to start to get clear the end of January, but you're going to see males, like it doesn't even have to be white males, like the military, like that kind of person hanging on, getting in trouble, trying to get out. Military scandals are already starting. Okay, in a different note, pirates will be back. I know, weird. But pirates started, I think, 5 years ago, we started hearing about pirates. They will be back, and I don't think they're going to look like what we think they look like, and I think we're going to find we have American pirates, people taking over other people's boats. I don't know. Halfway through the year, the vaccine will be reworked, or something will be changed. Here is a weird one. Scripture will be everywhere. And it'll be on billboards. I know it's already out there, and if you live in the South, you're like, we live with that. I feel like it's going to be graffiti. It's going to be, there may even be a particular scripture, like when people go to the game and they hold up John something. See how much I know about scripture? But I feel like there's a weird, you're going to see it everywhere. Almost like you see it in a horror movie after the zombies have come and you're like, ooh, that doesn't feel positive. That feels negative. And it will have been put up there or painted up there. I keep seeing it as graffiti. It will be painted with negative intent. So it won't feel good to see it, even if it goes with your beliefs. But scripture will be everywhere. Probably one thing that people that are part of a revolution or something are putting up. I feel like I'm talking about Michigan. One city will be deemed unlivable. I don't know what that's about, but one will be unlivable. It'll almost become, I keep wanting to say Detroit, but I don't think it's Detroit. But we'll have an American city that just is not okay. And I don't know, Flint had the water thing. I don't know if it's going to be something like that or that there's going to be a riot or stuff, but I think we're going to lose a city this year, at least for a while. There's some kind of a loop at the top of the United States, and it's not Washington, but it's almost like there's a loop that comes down that hits Montana, Idaho, and one other Middle West state. I should put up a map so I don't sound stupid. Hold on. Well, too late, right? But there is like there's like I don't want to say a loop, but it kind of comes down. It looks like a little bit of Idaho, Montana, a touch of Wyoming and North Dakota. And all I know is that those states will be different from the rest of us. And I don't know I don't know what that means. They will separate from us, or there will be such a bunch of people, or it's not like, well, a metaphor would be like if everybody there had COVID and the rest of us didn't. But it's not a negative like that or a sickness. But there's something about that loop in those states that they're going to separate from us, at least for a while. This is the weirdest thing of all. I feel like, okay, I'm always working on my mediumship. I feel like sometimes I talk to Osama bin Laden. See? Now someone would take that clip right there and just put it out and say how crazy I am, which we all know I'm crazy. But he said his people will be back. So ISIS or whoever he was working with are building in the Middle East, or even here. But they'll be back. I believe they will have a different name. They were Al-Qaeda. They were ISIS. They're very good at reinventing themselves. like Marky Mark turned into Mark Wahlberg. So this is a very strange one. Tomatoes, grow them. They are a plant you can have in your home. Give plants. I don't know why. Maybe tomatoes were the metaphor for growing your own vegetables, because I believe we should be doing that anyways. Or if tomatoes are going to be found to have some super healing something. Grow tomatoes, give them as plants to others. Jewelry. I kept getting jewelry and necklaces, and they were not quite crystals, although they may have been. But you all know how I'm big on shungite. Get your shungite, get that 5G EMF off of you. It's not going to be limited to shungite, and it may not be a crystal, but jewelry is, you're going to see the same thing on people. Maybe it is a, disinfectant, or it's something along those same lines where I tell all of you to get shungite to get EMF off of you. There is something about jewelry. I am hoping it is not like a wrist thing, like who got the vaccine, who didn't, like I'm marking up people, but something about jewelry could become important. Okay, a particular thing. Monsanto scandals are going to be very big, and people are going to pay attention. Monsanto, something to do with water, big scandals, they will be in the limelight. The entire farming community will change in a better way. We will either start to lean on them, farms will start to come back, the Monsanto people will either have to fight for their monopoly or whatever, but farming communities feel like they will change and come back. All right. There is some periods where technology will go quiet, and that's all I saw. I don't feel like it's the grid going down where everything goes woof, but something about technology going quiet. Hitchhikers will be back. Hitchhikers and wanderers, watch for them. It doesn't feel good, but it does feel like some of them are desperate. The safest places feel like the upper corners of the United States. And I'm not getting that there's danger, but I'm getting like if you live in Washington or you live the other end of Maine, Vermont, that kind of, it feels like there's a minimum of activity or earth problems or something. The top corners feel good. The South feels so hot this year. I don't mean like highest temperatures we've ever had. I mean like real heat issues, especially Texas this year. Beyond hot. QAnon, to me, always feels like it's younger people and Stephen Miller. QAnon will have a name change. They also will have safe houses, and I don't know what this is about, but it kept showing me QAnon as though they were purchasing houses or having safe houses where they were keeping people. Don't know what that's about. Watch out for, I'm so pessimistic, aren't I? I'm so sorry. 5G towers. So we all know I still am so against 5G. And if you look now, the new Apple phones, Apple had some sort of an advertisement for a charger or something that it didn't say blocked 5G, but it's almost like a little preview, like they're the first ones on this. This charger is going to be less dangerous than the other ones, or there's something about that. I should have looked before I did this, but you all know I fly by the seat of my pants, by the seat of my Santa Claus underwear. It is because people are going to be financially strapped or afraid to be financially strapped. They're going to ask to put the 5G towers on your land. Say no. Okay. We're going to have a different kind of police, and I don't mean this in a positive, like they say defund the police or change the police. There's going to be more of a military presence around, especially around government buildings. They don't do anything, they just look scary. So it's sort of to defer those people like Michigan. Remember all those guys that wanted to kidnap the governor, which, by the way, should be the most terrifying thing you've heard in a while, with their guns out? There's going to be a smaller government military around. You'll see that around. Now, here's some happy things. So I know that COVID locked families in, and this may have been the year where people decided they needed a divorce or they decided to come together. But the family unit is going to become more important and better. And it's not going to be like if you don't get along with your mother, you're never going to get along. It's almost the opposite. I think families and people are going to learn, this is how I want to say it, so I'm not even going to use the word family. People are going to learn how to get close to each other. They're going to learn compassion and they're going to learn connection. Okay? This will also if you're single, this sort of hookup culture is going to dissipate. Because even if you're with someone, like Lacey always says, a sacred one-night stand, where people are going to learn how to connect again. This will be stronger friendships. This will be more forgiveness. If you're somebody that holds high standards for other people that are too high or too rigid, we are going to learn that compassion to connect with one another. By the end of 2021, this should really feel better. It also feels like, whereas like we have this political banging of heads, it's not going to feel as severe. It's going to be what it used to be. My political opinion is that, I always think the system was corrupt. But what happened was when Bill Clinton got into office and the other politicians started opening up about Monica Lewinsky and the women with him, that was when there was no honor among thieves. That's when it started, when the politicians started turning on each other and started this sort of where we are now looking at the other side as the enemy, or we got to stop them, and they're looking at us like we got to stop them. Is that when the politicians turned on each other, it got worse and worse and worse. Then it was, George Bush, and he was the devil. And then it was Obama, and Obama was the devil. And now it's Trump, who could be the devil. But that is going to soften because we will no longer have the faith in them, and we will see how they have turned us against each other. Whereas if they hadn't been corrupt in the beginning, we wouldn't need this. But, we need this turnover. So that is a really, really good thing, that we will start to connect with people with more compassion and understanding. And there won't be this severity or this revenge or this power grab. That's going to start the end of 2021. Also, this is a year, 2021 is where we're going to win. My favorite movie that no one else in the world likes is a movie called What Dreams May Come. And one of the lines from it is, sometimes you have to lose to win. And that means sometimes you have to give up the fight to win. You have to give to the other person. That is what we're going to learn in 2021. The lose-lose situations are going to turn into compromise. So we are going to learn sometimes you have to lose to win. But I mean that in a positive. All right. I cannot thank you guys enough that listen to my podcast. You guys call me and you're so kind and you send emails and say nice things like, thank you for putting this out there. I am nada. You guys are it. I'm overwhelmed with how much you listeners make me happy. And I don't know what to say except gratitude. Thank you for letting me be me. And I hope I can bring you new information or inspiration, even though most of my predictions were kind of negative. We're going the right way. And I hope that I can bring you guys whatever you get out of this. I hope I can bring you more next year. I love you and adore you. I should have kept to my own 10-minute rule. Thanks to Mike Flynn at Uno Rising Media, all my fabulous guests this year, and all of you listeners. Thank you, thank you, thank you.